Okay, got a little pre-show going here. All these songs are original. This is Galactic Gunslinger. You're also going to hear Outer Frontier and The Settle by our own James Esparza. I mean, these songs kick ass and they're just for the Latinos land. So enjoy that. We already have our guests hanging out with us. We are going to go over some really, really awesome stuff. The whole world of, the whole idea of nostalgia. I mean, it never gets old. Get it? Enjoy these tunes. Be right back. Okay, really fast. I want to talk about the poll options. All right, check it out in the chat right now. Where do you first see new movies now? In the theater, on demand, pay for, or you're gonna wait till they stream, or Netflix and chill, meaning that you don't care if the movie had a theatrical opening at all. You're just in it to watch streaming movies only. So go ahead and vote now. Gracias. Our theme song that you guys are used to. I think the song kicks ass. It's called The Settle by James Esparza. Big movies that are old movies. I saw Alien this week. Loki saw Mummy. Phantom Menace is coming out this weekend. What is going on with Hollywood? We all have our different ideas. Robert Meyer Burnett's here. Loki's going to join us. Share the link, smash the like, all that good stuff. We might even have some other special guests. You just never know. Be right back. Welcome to the Latino Slant. Special live show. Hope everyone is doing well on this Monday. Yeah. So we're going to have a great time talking about things that we love, things that we're passionate about, and things that we head scratch. But before we do, I want to talk about for a second, guys, what's been going on around campuses all over this country. And give you a couple, I just want to give you some thoughts. You know, the Latino Slant was created out of my activism since I was in college. See, you know, growing up where I grew up, I didn't grow up around other Latinos. So when I went to college, it was a complete culture shock of like just people that looked like me, that came from the same backgrounds as me, doing our thing, and then some were political, and then some say, "Hey, you need to get into this political group. You need to join that political group." I was like, "Okay, all right." So I marched with Cesar when he was still alive. I marched when on Cesar Chavez's. Uh, I went to his funeral march. I've done I did many marches. I got so involved in the movement that I would be security for Chicano activists that were fasting at UCLA because we wanted a Chicano studies program in the 90s. I thought it was really important. I still think some of that is still very important, but I thought what was interesting was that even then, people in that group saw me differently and saw me either as a sellout or someone who was a coconut, brown on the outside, white on the inside. And I'm just me. I just love people, but I love my culture and I wanted to find out more and more about it. And that's when I said, you know what? I'm just going to go do my own thing and I'm going to live my life, get my own experiences, travel, find out about my family, find out about my lineage. Because I saw then, and I see it now, professionals at this game. Professionals. What do you want to be in life? I want to be a disruptor. I want to be an activist. So I get it that this new generation, this young generation, they're so lost in a lot of areas. I get why they get swept up in what's going on because they're trying to find meaning. And I just want to make sure that you guys know what meaning is, that you got to live your own life. And at the end of the day, life is not fair. Life is not all pretty. And Robert Meyer Burnett and his great takes on recent events reminded me of just he just put it together wonderfully. We're all on this rock just for a very short amount of time. Very short amount of time. And anything that has to do with taking out someone's life while it's too short should not be celebrated, should not be revered, or any of that terrorist type of mentality. It has to be the opposite. That's why we're the United States of America. We the people. And soon as it becomes us and them, we have lost. We have lost. And speaking from someone, this is coming from me who I've experienced that. I've been a part of so many movements since since my college days that it was never just, there was always another movement involved that, wait a minute, I didn't sign up for that. I didn't sign up for that. I kind of agree with you there. I see what's going on. So again, I just want you kids, this old man Paulie here, 53 years old, to know what you're getting yourself into and know that whatever you do now has effect on your personal life, your family's life, the life of your neighbors, the life of your community, not today, not tomorrow, but years down the line, is what you do today. Even on that little campus where you set up your little, freedom of speech zone, but you don't let other people come and talk to you. Got to beware, guys. And if you really want to resist any mob mentality. Resist any mob mentality. And don't hurt people. Listen to people. I wanted to keep it short. I wanted to keep it as clean as possible. But if anything, you guys come here, right, to the Latino Slant, or maybe to the Burnett Work, or maybe to Nerdrotic, Midnight's Edge, all our friends, because you want at a certain level escape. You want to a certain level find and be a part of a fellowship. So I definitely am not going to get on this is as high of a milk crate I'm going to get on tonight. But I just want you guys that are going through some of this stuff to just be aware of what do you want in life? What is your meaning there? Are you really getting it? And that's it. That's it. I could go on. I could go on. Trust me. Maybe in another video I will, but not right now. That's going to be it because we have our guests here. And before we bring on our guests, we have the great producer, Fletcher Williams. What's happening in the chat? We got a poll, my friend.
That's right. We got a poll going out to see where do you see movies originally? Where do you get those nice movies when they first come out?
What did you vote for? What are the options?
Well, that really not coming up on my end of the thing for some reason because everything's busted on mine. But let me open another screen. Oh, okay. I think I had the wait till streaming. I had on mine.
Wait till you got wait till streaming. Okay, all right,
yeah.
all right. Well,
yeah.
What else is happening in the chat? Because we're gonna bring in our very special guest.
Oh, we got a few folks that are in the chat joining us today. We got Fonso, we got Sis Corners in the house. We have Gilkman in the house. We have Visinger in the house.
I love the Gilkman. I love the Gilkman.
Well, he's here.
What's up, Sin?
Done and done.
And we just sent an invite to Tom.
Yeah, Tom said salute.
Salute.
And we got Sander Hammersland, the Wax Wooter, the Matt Cave coming in, Nick Broom coming up.
Yeah,
got some good Tim's Talks on your left, and a bunch of homies.
Hey, Matt Cave, what's happening? Okay, so I think we're ready. You guys know what to do as far as voting, and the channel loves it when you super chat or PayPal. We love that stuff. We're live right now on YouTube and X, Fletcher. X.
That's right. Dual casting.
X, baby. All right. I will catch you a little later, my friend.
All right. See you in the flippity flip.
Yes, you can tip us right now. PayPal. I will read your comments. What's great about PayPal? They take way more money than YouTube. YouTube is brutal, man. Brutal. So if you are feeling a little giving tonight, please give right there on PayPal. We were going to put a pirate flag as an option. I cannot tell you what this man means to me, and what a cool dude it is to hang out. He is to hang out in person with, but also to just to listen to him wax and wane, pontificate on life and movies, and the occasional borracho rant. What's up, my dude?
You are very kind. Thank you, Paulie. I'll tell you, it's been a wacky, well, not a wacky, but a very interesting 6 months. What's interesting is I think that, what's the old adage? May you live in interesting times. And while on one hand our world is better off than it's ever been, but on the other hand, as always, it is very tumultuous and across every level. And I think that there is, a lot of changes happening very rapidly in our culture, and we're all sitting here trying to make of it like, well, what's actually happening. And the funny thing is I always think we're supposed to arrive somewhere. Like change is going to happen, and then we arrive at the platform, and the change is, but that's not true. The change is constant and it's ever evolving.
It's every day.
It's every day, all the time. And it things just, it is an ebb and it's a flow. Things come and they go, we get older. That's the only thing that doesn't change. The fact that we're getting older, and it's weird because I've always thought of my life in 3 acts, like a movie. Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3, and I'm approaching the end of Act 2, and that turn into Act 3, and going into that great climax. And I guess it used to be it was your Act 2 that was important, because when your Act 1, you're a kid, you don't know who you are. Time doesn't matter. You've got all the time in the world. And so Act 2 better be great. And then Act 3, you benefit from everything that happened in Act 1 and Act 2, and you kind of wind down. But I don't see it that way. I see Act 3 as the climax. I mean, The Death Star 2 is going down. The Rebel fleet's coming. We got to shut down that shield generator. You know, maybe we will, maybe we won't. And we got to
stay on target.
Some of us are in the throne room, you know, and I don't even like that movie.
You know, you listen, you everything what you just said, I'm there with you. I will say that I think moving forward between now and November and afterwards, I am going to hit harder on the united we fall. And I maybe it's a segment, maybe it's a series on this things that we actually agree on, or that our day to day is that we all love and really get along more than ever in the history of mankind.
Yeah,
the history of mankind. You know, I think what the only thing that's what I'd like to do. And I know by us even doing this in our own way, this is really bringing a lot of people together, Rob.
Oh, no, absolutely. I am surprised at some of the, you know, because of recent events, some of the vitriol and the hatred and things that have been thrown my way, that I grew up as a kid meeting people and learning about people that had lived through that already. And
it's heavy, man.
Watching it happen again.
Yeah.
And watching it after having met people with lots of green tattoos on their wrists.
You know, there's a gentleman that was very influential in my mother's life and my life with those tattoos. God bless him. May he rest in peace. And you know how giving he was, and I mean he lost his whole family, and he you know, really was all, but he was an American success, you know. But he saw something in my mom and me, and he really opened up big doors for us. Well, you know, I say this just because even as a born again, you know, like my faith demands, that this is where, and we're not going to talk too long about religion, guys. Trust me.
Right.
But my faith demands that, like, look, Israel is the center of your spiritual life. This is where your savior, this is where he's from, the whole thing. So I have that. And then of course I have my wonderful Muslim friends, male and female, and I want everyone to be able to speak their mind, freedom of expression, freedom of speech. I just don't want people to get hurt.
Right.
That's it. I'm talking about here. I'm not even talking about over there, because I don't know what's going on really over there. That shit is wild and evil and destructive. I'm talking about here, like just as far as what we get to exercise, Rob. Am I making sense?
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, 100%. And I think, one of the things I got to tell you, there was a book that I read that was first given to me because of, I had a pretty, I wouldn't say a strict religious background, but I had to go to religion school once a week. And then as I got older, twice a week. And there was a book that was given to me that a lot of us read called Man's Search for Meaning. And it was written by Viktor Frankl. And Viktor Frankl was an Austrian psychiatrist and a survivor of the Holocaust. And he founded a thing called logotherapy. And it was a school of psychotherapy that describes the search for life's meaning as the central human motivational force. And logotherapy is part existential and part humanistic psychological theory. And he wrote a book, and it was first published in 1946, called Man's Search for Meaning. And he was a Holocaust survivor and a concentration camp survivor. But then he writes how that experience made him go into this idea of logotherapy, and that man's search for meaning is the central focus of our lives. And to this day, I read that book when I was first probably 12.
Mm-hmm.
And it was incredibly impactful to me. And I think it was part of the reason reading that book, part of the reason why storytelling became so important to me, and movies in particular. Because, as a kid growing up, I loved Star Trek. I loved James Bond and Planet of the Apes. This is pre-Star Wars. And I love these things, and I loved books. You know, I started reading from a very early age, but it wasn't until I was around, you know, my beginning my teenage years, when all of this really became, I wanted to get into become a storyteller, because reading that book and reading other books, other nonfiction books about this sort of subject, the great stories. Like, why do we tell each other stories? We tell each other stories in order to convey our experiences to other people in a contextualized way, so they can understand what we went through too.
That's it.
That's what all the details of. And when you think about it, jokes, great jokes are stories. Music, you know, popular music songs, whether you're Pink Floyd or Taylor Swift or the Rolling Stones or Led Zeppelin or the Beatles or Prince or take your pick. Great songs are stories in 3 minutes. If you listen to American Pie, it's a story in 6 minutes, you know, whatever. And like, you know, whether you're listening to some metal, you want to listen to Enter Sandman, or you want to listen to
Duran Duran
or goth. Or
did you see their documentary just out on Netflix, bro?
Oh, I know. Yeah. And I mean, and that's the thing. Movies to me were obviously the great storytelling medium that I loved so much, and I was so influenced by them.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is you know, I'm going to do a show later tonight where I know a lot of people have been talking about, the Russo brothers were saying about how movies are changing and it's a generational thing and they must evolve. But what I think is different now than when I was growing up, and I'm seeing this shift has really happened. It's part of the social media age. Call it what you want. But it used to be that when we were growing up, we had to look out of ourselves to find, you know, we were looking out of ourselves to find whatever it was. If we were interested in something, you had to go out and get it.
Yep.
You had to take effort. You had to make
You had
effort.
to take effort.
You had to take some effort and get out there. And because it didn't come to you.
Nope.
You know, it wasn't,
Nope.
We weren't carrying around supercomputers in our pockets that literally had every movie, every song, every bit of human knowledge, every book, any piece of information. You've got it in your pocket.
I mean, I thought when I was 9 and I had my allowance and I knew my dad was going to give me money to go see any movie, me getting on the number 8 bus to go to Westwood Village, to where my dad worked, and getting money from him, and I had my choice of all those movie theaters and the arcade, I was in heaven.
Yeah.
Like, that was my computer. That was my iPad. You know, Avco Cinema. You know all the theaters. But you know what? We have our other guest with us, Rob, and I'd like to open it up. Are you? I mean, me and you could go on this, and I
please.
Think
I didn't want to be rude. I apologize for yammering away as long as I did.
No, not at all, man. But I think what we're talking about here all blends into the topics we're going to talk about tonight. As far as anniversary films, as far as algorithm films, you were talking about it. I mean, I'm very excited to talk about this. So let's bring on our other friends. Stone Cold Loki. ¿Qué pasó, hombre?
What's up, man?
How's it going? I think this is the first time I've been on camera with Rob. We've known each other for a while, but
but you were always in an animated form.
Yes, I was always an animated avatar. So
look at you.
You guys are so great.
What a cool background. You're a handsome
cool
devil,
background.
and you've got Howard the Duck behind you.
I just got that. That's the original promo album. I love my albums. I've got albums all over. I love my albums.
Well, my
is
brother,
that a Cherry Bomb record.
What
is that Cherry Bomb, the band in the
Cherry Bomb?
Yeah,
I love.
Is that the Runaways or Cherry Bomb? What?
Well, Cherry Bomb was the band that Leah Thompson fronted, right?
Cherry Bomb was the band.
Oh, Howard the Duck. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I try to not to remember that film, but that's okay. Loki, listen, our first stream together, first time streaming with Robert was on Loki's channel a couple of years ago. That's when we all first got to hang out. But the guy that introduced me to a lot of you is here with us as well. Are you ready to come on? He's checking something. He's handsome. He's from Midnight's Edge. It's Tom.
There he is.
He blackmailed me. He said I had to be on camera.
Yes.
So, since you're like saying that Howard the Duck isn't good and we have classics, in case I want to watch it more than once, I have not one, not 2,
You got the Steelbook too?
not 3,
Jesus.
but 4 copies of Howard the Duck.
You know, though,
I have
that
a
has some
problem, Rob.
incredible ILM work.
It does.
ILM, the overlords and those creature effects at the end are really spectacular.
Can you show the stand and deliver one really quick that you sent me a photo of today? Or
I'll
did you
be
put it
right
away?
back. But yeah,
The stand and deliver from Warner Archive. I just got that.
He just got it, and he texted me a picture. Okay, guys, listen, it's an all-star crew tonight, and we're really happy. I'm really happy that R&B, Loki, and Tom Midnight's Edge can come out and hang out with me and all you guys. Over 70 people live in the chat. Come by X and on YouTube. So just want to say really quick hello to Mormaga, Tim, Dave. Oh, there we go.
I just got that too.
So,
and by the way, Warner Archive's bit rates are high. They're always doing great stuff.
Is there anything extra on there that like is there any?
I don't see anything
commentary
listed here, but as long as we're getting it on Blu-ray, I'm not going to complain too much.
Right.
I don't even think this ever got a very good. Did it even get a DVD release, Robert?
I don't. I think
if
it might
did,
have been
it was
on DVD.
really limited. Yeah.
No, it's great to have that. Warner Archive. I just got today. I got Francis Ford Coppola's first feature film. Well, it's not his first studio movie, which is The Rain People, which I've never seen. That Warner Archive put out. I just got that in the mail.
It is a great film, and we all have a little something here in common too. We all done streams with Mr. Edward James Olmos.
I know that was a fun one.
Yeah, and then me and Loki got to do one-on-one with him, and we did what did we talk about? We talked about a few of his films, right?
We talked about a couple of his films, and I made the poor guy cry.
You did. You made him crack, dude.
I didn't mean to. I cracked him.
You made him crack.
My dad served 20 years as a flight officer in the Navy, and when he retired from the Navy, he said, "I want to be a teacher." And I said, "Why do you want to go from doing something so cool to being a teacher?" And he made me sit down and watch Stand and Deliver, and he said, because of Jaime, I want to be a teacher, and I want to teach kids history. And he did for another 20 years. Did another whole new career. Just
well, that's what we were talking about earlier. A third act. There's no reason why anybody can't. I was talking about this the other day. I used to have a paper out when I was a kid, and I would always read the op-ed section, the entertainment section, in Dear Abby before I went out of my paper out. And the Dear Abby column I remember the most was a woman had written into her, and she said, "Abby, I'm 42 years old, and I've always wanted to be a doctor. But if I went through medical school and did all my residency, by the time I was a full-fledged doctor, I'd be 50 years old." And Abby's answer was, "You're going to be 50 anyway."
Yeah.
I mean, and that just stuck with me. I mean, like, yep, you're going to be 50 anyway. And
and I mean, just you gentlemen here. I mean, all you guys, I know a little bit about. Y'all are persevering and doing some fun stuff and really entertaining a lot of people. It's really important, guys, especially nowadays. So, my heart.
Well, I mean, a lot of us, we met, I started watching Midnight's Edge, and like we were talking about earlier, Geeks and Gamers and Gary. I didn't know any of those lovely people, and I watched them during the pandemic, like a lot of us did. And I just started my own YouTube channel, and I really like I first noticed on Midnight's Edge, I'm like, these are really well produced editorial videos. So when a Midnight's Edge thing popped up, I'm like, oh, I gotta watch that. And the algorithm that would make sure I saw everything Midnight's Edge put out, and I'm like, okay.
Always. I mean, in back then it was Rob's voice, correct, Tom? That was doing the VOs. Those videos were
Andre did some. He did the editorials,
right? And now it's Andre, and they're just fantastic.
But I love Andre's. I do
too. Yeah,
his voice. I
do too. I just want to give some past love to Rob. But now it's a new day. But the point is that excellence has always been there. And you guys are even saying something today, Tom, where you guys were talking about Paramount, and like, okay, we're the first ones to say it. I think it was you and Andre. and what Paramount is doing. I mean, there's so many ways we can go with this conversation, but why don't we get to the anniversary films right now? Can we do that? And we don't have one, not two, but three huge anniversaries that are happening right now or are gonna happen.
Alien was in the top 10 box office grossing films this weekend.
It's crazy. That is so
I mean, it was
crazy.
number 10, but it
Mm-hmm.
grossed over $1 million.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And not that many theaters either. Yeah,
not a lot of theaters.
And
not a lot of theaters. Why don't we all go let's work with Rob first and Loki and then Tom, if that's cool. Go ahead, Rob.
Well, I mean, I saw this movie first run. I coerced. This is a terrible story, but I'll tell anyway. So my grandmother had passed away, and my grandfather was taking us kids out every weekend, and nobody was going to take me to this movie. It was, I was 11 or 12 when it first came out or something, and my mom and dad wouldn't take me, and it was rated R. And so I convinced my grandfather. My grandfather, not his kind of film. And my sister and my grandfather's like, well, what do you kids want to do this Sunday? I'm like, oh, there's this new movie, Grandpa. It's called Alien. Oh, that sounds fine. And let's go. And we did. And I was sitting next to my grandfather. I was effing terrified. I mean, I first of all, people don't understand what it was like to see something in the theater you'd never seen before. And the realism, the verisimilitude that Alien brought to sci-fi horror. Yeah. We'd seen that in Star Wars, but it hadn't been applied to horror yet, not on the scale that Alien did. Well, and it was absolute. I was so terrified seeing that movie. And when the chest burster scene happened, I both loved it, was shocked by it, but I was more delighted by what was, because it was so transgressive. No one had ever seen anything like that before. And it's hard to explain to people now what it was like to go into a movie theater and see things, The Exorcist, Jaws, Star Wars, Alien, Dawn of the Dead with the violence. These things had never been seen on screen before. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And to have gone through that, it's weird to see something that you had no experience and no context, and you saw something for the very first time that was new. This movie plays just as well now, because I recently rewatched it with some friends, as it did in 1979.
Loki.
So I mentioned my dad earlier. My dad would always grab me and take me to the movies. It didn't matter whether it was a rated R movie, didn't matter what it was, RoboCop. I think I saw RoboCop when I was like 7. Absolutely loved it. I wanted to go see it because of the big fist, but we went and saw Aliens. So I saw Aliens first. And everything that stood out was the hive, the way the walls looked, the aliens. It was like a completely different world. I didn't watch Alien until I was probably 10 because of my mother. When I did see it again, what drew me the most was the ship, the jockey, the space jockey, the control room, where the eggs were. And over time, I was in my early 20s and I was in Galveston Island. I got a hold of the Necronomicon and the Necronomicon 2, which is H.R. Giger's books, signed, and they were signed. And eventually, I started trading a lot of the Giger artwork. People trade. And I'll show you something. I posted this yesterday. I don't know if you want to share it really quick.
Oh yeah, sure.
That is called the Lady Magician. That is not a poster. That is not a print. That is the real deal. That is hanging up in my living room. Ooh. Right next to my big chap alien head. I think Paulie saw that once. I've got a big chap. Wow. It's like a 3D alien head that's sitting above my fireplace. I love Giger's style. I love Giger's art. He is the reason why we have this fear this alien, this thing, and it's they took a chance. Fox didn't like him. Fox didn't want him, but they pushed and they said, this guy is the real deal. We need this guy to make this movie. If we didn't have H.R. Giger, we wouldn't have Alien. It would have been some space cockroach that we just went, ah. But because of him, we got this beautiful spaceship, and we got this beautiful dead space jockey in the chair, and with the open chest. Why does it have a broken open chest? We don't know. But fear, that fear, and that oh, I can't believe I'm seeing this. Like Rob said with the chest burster, and it's just it's magic. It's all because of him, and Ridley, and Bannon that we got this wonderful movie, and it's a pleasure. Anytime I get to go see this in the theater, it is an absolute pleasure. I've got to see it 3 times. I saw it on the 40th anniversary. I saw it about 3 years ago when I was visiting my wife before we got married, and then I got to see it just the other day. So it's great. It's wonderful. 3 times in theaters, and I never thought I would see it in theaters. It's one of those movies you never think, well, 20 years down the road, you're going to get to see it in theaters. No, that's over. They're never going to bring it back. You get to see it. You get to see it not just once, but 3 times. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Tommy.
Well, as far as Alien goes, the weird thing is I think I saw Alien 3 first. I'm trying to remember.
I saw Alien 3 in the theater.
Because you got to remember when that came out and my age at the time.
Right.
And then I remember I got the trilogy VHS set. And I'm pretty sure I'd seen Alien and Aliens in between there at some point. But for some reason in my brain, I remember seeing Alien 3 first when it had come out. But Alien itself, like I just rewatched it here a couple weeks back. And it's a superb film. Now, I like to give Ridley Scott a lot of crap. But I mean, this is just one of those movies where if it wasn't for him, it wouldn't have happened, as Loki said, because, Bannon wanted, Giger, and he was not going to give up on that, but the studio wasn't going to go for that. They're like, we can't have penises and vaginas all over this movie. Right. And, it's just like, if it wasn't for Ridley, we wouldn't have got Giger. We wouldn't have got the movie that we got. And it's a classic. I mean, and I hope they're showing the original cut, not the strange director's cut. That's kind of just an oddball. Because it cuts some scenes out and then adds some others in. It's just and recolor timed. So I don't know which version they were showing in theaters, but I'm glad to see movies like this getting some attention in theaters. And it kind of reminds me of how music has been going lately, with where kids are discovering more classic music. And if you look at the music charts, sure, there's the Kanye West and Taylor Swift in there once in a while, but there's more Eagles, Michael Jackson, Pink Floyd, et cetera, mixed in amongst that than there is, the new stuff. So, yeah, it's kind of cool to see movies like that. And I always love to see a revival. I saw Jaws, I think it was last year, the year before, and that was a trip. So I never got to see Alien in the big screen, though. So,
well, I saw Alien this past Saturday night on the big screen. Century City AMC, sold out. Seen it with a crowd. Oh my God. I was terrified. This movie scared the shit out of me. And I've seen this movie dozens of times. I didn't see it as a kid, though. To me, even though I was already seen films, it always seemed a little too adult for me. I didn't get it. Like, it didn't appeal to me. And a couple of years later, it did. But whoa, boy, I mean, John Hurt, you just get to see his performance. You get to see everyone's performance. Even the what we call the two guys, the two truckers that are unhappy with the union, Henry Dean Stanton and Yaphet Kotto. I was absolutely great. It was gripping, but it was different because obviously it's not the same tone as Aliens. And they had a 9-minute interview before the movie with Fede Alvarez interviewing Ridley Scott.
Yeah, I didn't know they were going to do that. I would love to have seen it.
I'm sure it's going to be on YouTube at this point. It should be. They should put it up because it's a cool little 9 minutes. So I was telling Loki yesterday, I was like, did you know, because they were like some cool, kind of trivia about the film. I don't know if you knew this, Tom, but the set piece for the spaceship wasn't that big, budget restraints. So when they're like climbing in to go check out, they're doing the first reconnaissance, to go check
Of
out
the alien derelict.
Right, that it was Ridley Scott's kids dressed up in the space uniforms.
Yeah.
Yep, I did know that. Yeah.
Okay,
so
you knew that.
They could scale it up a little bit. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that was cool. I didn't know that.
I have my favorite story involved
Yeah.
with Alien, besides the one that most people know, and that was that the cast didn't have a clue how big the was going to be when it came out. So their reaction was genuine.
It was Cartwright.
Yeah. Goes back to actually the inception of the film when O'Bannon was writing it, and I'm trying to remember who his writing partner was at the time. But they were trying to crack how they were going to get the alien on the ship.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't figure it out in the script. They were trying to get there. And you were just talking about the movie, and it's really kind of slow moving in the beginning, even though there's a lot of stuff for us to just kind of chew on as far as like, the scenery and these guys just bantering back and forth, like you said, about like Yaphet Kotto and Harry Dean Stanton bitching about their pay and all that kind of stuff. So there's that going on. It isn't until like 40 some minutes, I think, Robert, until we see the actual chest burster into the movie. And then, another like 10, 15, 20 minutes before we see the full-fledged alien again. So they're building up to it, but
yeah.
Well, they lull you. I think what the best part about Alien is basically you're just looking at these workaday blue collar truck drivers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're oil workers. They work on this oil derrick, bringing ore back. I mean, there's no weapons on this ship.
No.
And they're just. And what I love about that is, even though you're in deep space and you're on these alien planets, the main characters are us. Any one of us could have been on that ship on the Nostromo.
They were all very normal, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was a great choice, because if they'd made them like all scientists aware of. Right. It wouldn't have nearly been as effective, I don't think.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing, is the people who would be to make the call to keep the alien, or even, let's say, what's his face's character off the ship, and they should have froze him like they said at the beginning, but Ash, has his ulterior motives, and nobody listens to Ripley when she says, we shouldn't let him on.
That is the one thing in the director's cut. Tom,
that's the one thing in the director's cut that's different. Yeah,
that fight between
we didn't get
Lambert
that.
and Ripley. Man, Lambert just like hauls off and slaps the ever-loving crap out of Ripley. Like, why weren't you going to let us in? And Ripley's arguing with her about
like that's protocol.
About protocol, and if they would have listened,
she would have been
face hugger, open the airlock. There you go.
Right.
Then no more movie.
Everybody
I think this shit besides Kane, Lambert, and Dallas live.
I mean, all the difference is, Ash he's the one that opens the airlock, and it makes, it's the first time you realize something's up with this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other guys bring up they should have froze him, and they don't. But that was my whole story I was getting to, is that the whole point of getting the alien on the ship, they were just trying to figure out how to do this, because they're like, they wouldn't just bring one of the eggs on, they wouldn't just bring the creature on. How could we do this? And in like the other writer was living with O'Bannon at the time, and he had that moment, we're just between sleep and wake, and he's just thinking about it, and he's like, oh my God, I got it. And he shook Bannon awake in the middle of the night. He goes, I figured it out. We're gonna get the alien on the ship. He's like, how? The alien's gonna fuck him. He's like, what? He's like, yeah, the alien's gonna fuck him. He's like, no, you got to be serious. He's like, no, I am serious. It'll be like this creature that shoves a thing down his throat and implants the seed inside, and then so he goes through the whole spiel,
right?
And they're like, boom, that's it, and that's kind of the thing that brought everything together, and that also adds so much more to the, the reason why they brought him back on the ship, because he's still technically alive. He's got this thing on his face. Everybody's panicking and freaking out, so it works. So yeah. Anyway. It's a brilliant film, and I love that story.
Well, let's we could keep going on just with Alien alone, but we have a lot to discuss. Thank you guys so much. We got some comments here. Anyone want to respond? Please go ahead. Nick Echo Base Networks hanging out in the chat. What's up, buddy? Saw Alien yesterday with Coach. Love seeing it on the big screen. That's just the thing with it. I'm thinking that Hollywood knows in regards to these revivals is that there's nothing compares to seeing these movies on the big screen. Rob,
no, with an audience too.
With an audience,
I mean, but I have to say that again, when I saw Alien for the first time, home video really wasn't a thing. The Laserdisc market, Laserdisc were introduced in 1978 in 2 cities in the United States. One of them was my hometown of Seattle. And home video was just beginning at that time. So movies were still a sacred place. When you went into a movie theater, people didn't talk. You were absorbed by the film. Yeah. And, again, you had to make a journey. You had to make a trek to a theater to see it. And I saw Alien in the same theaters that played Star Wars for over a year in Seattle, in downtown Seattle. So on 6th and Blanchard, the UA 150 theater. And it was this grand movie palace. I mean, it was an incredible venue. And I saw everything from Star Wars and Empire. Dawn of the Dead was playing in the theater next door when I first saw. I saw Buckaroo Banzai there. I saw Big Trouble in Little China there.
45th anniversary as well. Dawn of the Dead.
That's right. And it's it was an amazing experience to see that film in that theater in 70 millimeter for the first time.
Sanders says he's a member of the channel and a ranch. Is it the 79 or 03 cut? I'm pretty sure it was a 79.
It's a 79. They've never shown the director's cut in a theater that I know of. There's never been an anniversary or anything that showed the.
Actually, that's not true because when they did that cut, that's when they showed it. They showed it in theaters for limited engagement.
After that.
And that's what Fox actually insisted that it be a director's cut. So that's the one time Ridley didn't do one on his own accord.
Wow. He's usually Look at guys. You guys are getting all this great movie trivia here tonight.
He mainly wanted to get that other scene in there too, which was with Tom Skerritt, where he's up on the thing like this and still half alive or whatever.
I want to see those scenes. I want to see the cat fight. More manga. Yapicado and Harry Dean. Oh my god, glorious. Harry Dean in Repo Man and in Paris, Texas. Any day.
Very undersung character actor, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Rest in peace, right? He recently passed away.
I think he recently did. Yeah, one of his last movies, one of the Avenger films, I think.
Really? Okay.
Well, he was in, which one was it? Because he's talking to the Hulk. He's like, you came down and you were naked and green.
Oh,
that's right. That was Avengers.
Oh, my God.
Oh, so he maybe did a few after that. But yeah,
that's one of the ones I remember. Snowdub is in the chat. We've got some cool people hanging out in the chat. Alien is a classic example of creativeness of movies before everything became requels.
That's a funny thing that you look at, and I just brought this up in the private chat. Here we are at the anniversary of 1984, one of the most prolific years in films. I know Robert and I have a fun debate about which one's better, 82 or 84. Ooh. But 84 is up there, man. I mean, there's so many films, and a lot of the films that we have now, as far as reboots and sequels and rebootquels, come from 82, 84, 85, 86, all these years that we had these huge original hits. And now they're just trying to recapture that. It used to be the flip to where they wouldn't do so many sequels for every Police Academy and Friday the 13th that the studios were embarrassed about putting out. They tried to put out more Footlooses or Karate Kids or, first run movies, Revenge of the Nerds,
Wasn't there a remake of Footloose?
Recently, 10 years ago,
with Zac Efron.
How was that?
Yeah.
It wasn't bad.
Okay, all right.
I mean, look, it's not. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying, I think they missed an opportunity not doing the jukebox musical version. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, it was. Here's the thing. I get that recognizable IP. I understand why they're risk averse, but I've always said no one ever got really rich in Hollywood by following a trend. You got rich in Hollywood by setting trends. And all of these movies, if you look at in the wake of Star Wars, I mean, you had kind of this interesting period of time where you had Exorcist in 73, you had Jaws in 75, and you had Star Wars in 77. And these were giant pop culture zeitgeist movies.
Rocky in
The first-
76.
I'd add Godfather
Ro-
and Rocky to that too.
Rocky
yeah.
in 76.
Yeah, I would
And
too,
Godfather,
but these were summer like these were summer blockbuster movies, you know. And
I mean, no argument. No argument.
No argument.
Go
yeah.
on.
Jaws
yeah.
started the trend. You're right.
You're
yeah.
right.
Yeah, I
You're
mean,
right,
and,
R&B.
but these are pop culture zeitgeist movies, whereas The Godfather the book itself was a pop culture zeitgeist thing. So was Exorcist, and so was Jaws too. But
Well,
anyway,
I say Godfather because that's the first movie that was released nationwide at the same time.
yeah, that's
I don't
true.
know if you remember that. So anyway, but that's
So what happened was, in the wake of that, we got just a spate of original films. Studios were making these really original, bold movies with auteur directors. And that's how people forget, but 6 months after Star Wars came out, Close Encounters was released.
Yep.
And there were times that was another. And then in 78, Richard Donner made Superman the movie, and there were all these and suddenly genre cinema, because you're coming out of the Vietnam War era. So the idea of making big budget fantasies or horror and then slasher movies took over the drive-ins. And there was
that argument, you could say Planet of the Apes really kind of started that.
Sort of, but what Rob's talking about is actually where Easy Rider is kind of like patient zero for this. What happened is you had the studio system dying, you had all the moguls dying out, and they were selling off all the studios, or their kids were taking over, or what have you, and they would start taking chances on things like Easy Rider, and then you got all these auteur directors, like he said, some of them from the USC Mafia and all that kind of stuff, like De Palma, Scorsese, Coppola, Lucas, Spielberg, all those guys came out of that era. And a lot of that was these guys who didn't really know how to make movies, but they knew how to market stuff, right? Like we make products, we do this, we do that. Because you had like Seagram's bought out, what company was it? Was it Columbia or somebody like that? And,
Bruce Willis?
You had Coke ended up buying them and stuff or Coke ended up buying them. But yeah, like, so you had all these other companies buying them up. Gulf and Western bought Paramount and stuff like that. Yeah. So they knew how to do other things, but didn't know how to make movies. So they're like, here, kid, we don't understand this space movie about a talking dog, but go ahead and make it. Here's a few $1,000,000. We liked American Graffiti.
Nice. Yeah.
So they took chances. They didn't quite know what they were making. Rob's right. They're like, give it a shot. Jaws, if they would have known what they were actually doing, they would have never made that movie at that time. Well, even Spielberg has said that 1,000,000 times over, right?
Okay, so, I'm gonna let's for time's sake, let's move on.
Yeah.
No, you guys are great. Listen,
Rob wanted to say something. I want to hear what
I can listen to. You
I was just gonna say that if you look at the kind of movies that we got in the early 80s, you had directors who were building careers, movie after movie after movie, and you could follow their careers, whether it was Spielberg, Joe Dante, John Carpenter, David Cronenberg, Walter Hill. I mean, there was all these directors that were putting out movies like every year and a half or 2 years, and the studios, some of them were bouncing around to studios, and it was a really creative time where and also the difference was that the studios were not making movies for the whole globe. They were making movies mostly for the domestic market. So, and they weren't nearly as expensive. I mean, these movies were not costing. Raiders of the Lost Ark was a $20 million movie.
Okay, let's put a pin on it. We're going to get right back to it. Mexican Iron Man in the chat. $9.99 super chat. Love them super chats. What a smart, good-looking panel. Gracias, hombre.
Hey, Mikey.
Hey, Mikey, just for that, he's got his own thank you. Orale. Thank you so much. Okay, Loki, you saw The Mummy last week or a couple days ago, 25th anniversary. Talk to us about it.
This was the most unexpected, amazing theater experience I think I've had in a long time. Rob, have you ever been to what's the vampire, the transvestite Transylvanian Rocky Horror Picture
Rocky Horror?
Show?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I grew up going to Rocky Horror.
They were quoting the movie. It started out light, like a little hush talking in the crowd.
You're talking about the audience you were with.
The audience, by the time we got to the hanging, the neck did not break. And the entire audience is quoting line after line after line of this movie. And it just blew us away. We did not expect that.
Yeah.
We didn't go into this. We just thought, oh, it'll be quiet. There won't be that too many people there. It was packed. It was fun. And they quoted everything. They were quoting everything. Nice. And it was I did not expect that from The Mummy. So now any anniversary we get for this or Mummy 2, I'm going to go see it because apparently there's a very verbal audience that likes this movie and likes to recite the lines from this movie.
Loki, does the movie still stand up?
Movie still stands up. I didn't see anything there that I'd want to see more than this. You can call me whatever you want. I thought that this was great. It's fun. It's exciting. It's funny. You go and you have a good time. You leave the movie and you're having a good time. It's got some testosterone, but it's got femininity too because look at Rachel. I mean, you've got this wonderful cast. And they have a lot of fun. You can tell they had a lot of fun making this movie. And it doesn't matter whether you're watching at home or the theater. I thought the theater experience was crazy. Because like I said, I saw Rocky Horror Picture Show in my 20s.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect when I went and saw that. And there are people up by the screen dancing and they're singing and they're doing the thing. So to go into
shadow cast.
Yes, Rob, the shadow cast. To get everybody quoting and just having a good time. You see one of the ushers popped in and was just kind of watching us like, huh? Yeah. He didn't expect it. And left. He didn't bug anybody. He didn't say anything to anybody. Everybody was they were laughing, having a good time. It was a crazy experience. An absolutely crazy experience, and we had a lot of fun. This is the first time we got to see this in a theater together. Eris loves this movie. I love this movie, and she can quote it with the best of them. I'll tell you that.
I mean, I haven't seen it in years. It was a fun movie when I saw it. I mean, there's obviously an audience for this. I mean,
oh yeah.
People in the chat are saying still holds up. Matt, what did Matt say? The fan base for The Mummy's no joke, LOL. What do you think, Rob?
Well, okay. For me,
wait a minute. I'm sorry. You know what? We do have, guys, I just got this breaking news. We have an alien sighting with Robert Meyer Burnett. Breaking news. RMB and the Xenomorph. You talk about.
I have that here in the Raw Observatory.
What is going on here?
I have that. That is I have. It was made about 20 years ago by the Hollywood Collectible Company. It is a 1-to-1 scale alien bust, a head, and it is so heavy. It's got to weigh close to 100 pounds.
Is that with the wall-mounted brackets?
No,
or is it just a whole head?
No, it's a whole head. It sits up.
I've got the one with the wall-mounted brackets that looks like it's like a mount, like you shot it.
Yeah,
and you hung it above your fireplace.
Yeah, that one's. Is that the one that NECA makes?
Yes, that's the big
that
one
thing is.
NECA makes.
That thing is really cool. This was something.
Did you French kiss it, Loki?
I'm just
no.
It's funny because I took this picture. I think I took this picture 8 years ago for Alien Day, because you can tell my hair is not white. But I wanted to do so. There is a ongoing debate that has been on my YouTube channel, and we've talked about, as a human being, would you sleep with an alien? And in Aliens, we hear like it doesn't matter if it's male or female, if it's Octurian, baby, it doesn't matter. And so, if you would, like Spock's parents are interspecies. Spock's mom is human. Spock's father is a Vulcan. So the question that has been an ongoing debate on my channel for now 6 years is, would you sleep with an alien? And if so, how far would it go before the alien was too alien to sleep with? And a first example of that would be a xenomorph. What if a xenomorph was sentient and you, a female xenomorph, was really funny and she was really devastatingly charming? Could you sleep with her? And so I think I took this picture to promote that conversation. Those on record, as progressive as I might be sometimes, I couldn't go there. I couldn't sleep with a xenomorph. Maybe that doesn't make me as evolved as you folks, but I couldn't go there.
If you know,
you can see me trying.
I would sleep with Supergirl, but not a xenomorph.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. But then the question,
right? I know what you're gonna say. She got that she has that super snatch.
But
would that kill you?
Well, that's
would
the thing.
that kill you? And then you could go would poor what's her name, Lois Lane, because
I mean, and then it comes down
Superman's
well, there's a Star Trek episode called By Any Other Name, where these invaders come from the Andromeda Galaxy and they take human form. And Barbara Boucher is one of the hottest women ever, is in this episode. Now, if you knew that her native form was like a tentacled, one-eyed, bug-eyed monster, even though she'd taken human form and she was like the hottest thing you'd ever seen, could you sleep with her? Knowing what you know, that she's a shapeshifter and she's taken this form. And even though she looks, everything about her feels, smells, tastes, looks human, if you knew that that wasn't her natural form, could you do it?
You kind of see that in Galaxy Quest with the people, right? Where it's like the tentacles are all over his face. He's like, oh, screw it, I'll do it anyway.
Right. Yep. I mean, and the thing is, it comes down to asking yourself, like, I read this Star Trek novel by a woman named Diane Duane called The Wounded Sky. And there's a crystalline spider, Tilk is the name of the character. And she's delightful. She has an incredible personality. And, people talk about she's beautiful, but she's literally a giant crystalline spider. But she's a great character. And she's a great conversationalist. And you fall in love with this character. And maybe in her world, she's like the most beautiful thing ever, but she looks like a giant spider to us. So how do you feel about her?
Oh, okay. Well, I think we've
not to derail the conversation, but
we've
that's
traumatized Tom. Anything else? I mean, about the mummy.
I mean,
Rachel, go ahead. Yeah, you gonna say something?
No, I was just. You're right. I was thinking about that. What?
I'll throw out
Maybe
something
an
about
astronaut.
Alien. I don't know if you guys ever noticed.
To be the first motherfucker to see a new galaxy or find a new alien life form. And fuck it. And people be like, there he goes. Homeboy fucked the Martian once.
That's gonna be Rob.
There he goes.
At the end of, if you notice at the end of Alien, when the alien confronts Lambert and Yaphet, you see the tail. You see this tail with like a hook on it. And then you hear Lambert. She's like, right? And you wonder what's happening because it's off screen. Ripley's hearing this and you don't know what's happened, right? When you see that hook going towards Lambert, those aren't her shoes. Those aren't her shoes. Those are Brett's shoes. Those are Harry Dean Stanton's shoes from earlier in the movie. Wow. So they took the scene where it was going to do that to him, and they did it to her later, but it's his shoes. It's not her shoes. So if you ever next time you watch Alien, get to that scene. Look at that scene where she's like freaked out and it's gonna get her, and then you hear her like huffing as Ripley's running to try and save them. You see her shoes and you see the tail going up between her shoes. It's Brett's shoes. It's not her shoes.
Wow.
Weirdest transition, but Phantom Menace coming out this weekend. 25th anniversary. Who's got their tickets?
I already got my popcorn.
This is the biggest disappointment since my son.
Yeah. Well, really going with Jake Lloyd. Yeah, the best choice.
We got our popcorn bucket and our cups when we went to sell the Mummy because they already had them out. I was like, "You would just get them now?" Yeah.
More power to people who want to see this. I got duped into going to see the 3D version because I thought maybe, just maybe, if people go to see this, we'll get the OG trilogy in 3D as George had already converted them, but that didn't happen because this had played so poorly that time. But you know what? I think it'll do better this time simply because the taste of Disney Star Wars in their mouths. I think people will want to go see something like this. So you never know. This might do well.
I wouldn't mind seeing the pod race again on the big screen, R&B.
Yeah, I mean, look, Ben Quadinaros. I want justice for Ben Quadinaros. I mean, I'm still waiting for Ben. I really am. No, I have to tell you that I'm not a fan of this movie. Yeah, and it was you know what's interesting to me? The story is really good, but the execution doesn't work.
Oh no. Yeah.
And I found it like this is literally a movie that opens with two Jedi at the height of their powers, which we'd never seen before, landing, going into a room, sitting down, and waiting. That's the opening scene of this movie. I mean, and they drink water or whatever, you know, and they're like sitting around wait. I mean, look, if you think about if you go back and you watch like Gennady Tarkovsky's Clone Wars series, the first Clone Wars series before, if you watch like the opening of that, if you go back and you look at this movie, you basically should have made it Lethal Weapon. You have Riggs and Murtaugh, you know, and you should have had the most killer opening scene on what some like Bond opening where these two Jedi just kick major bootay. They stop a civil war, whatever it is that they do, and you see them being absolutely awesome. And then it cuts to them, the Jedi Council reporting back, and they're like, well, you've done good, boys. We have a thing that we need you to do. There's this outlying planet named Naboo. It's been blockaded. We don't really understand what's going on, but we know you two boys can handle it. So could you just head out there and see what's up and go from there? And they're the detectives. They're these cops, you know, make it a 70s conspiracy thriller. They're like, what's going on here, man? And that's all you needed to do. But the problem with this movie is that George Lucas believed that Star Wars was a kid's movie. And no one else who was working on it thought that. And he finally went back, but he'd forgotten what it means to be a kid. So this movie is completely stilted. There's not one scene in this whole movie that has any reality or any kind of, because every performance is weird and stilted. Because he could use digital technology to take the head off one performance and put it on the body of another. He's literally putting together all these scenes digitally because it was the first time he could work this way.
Right. And it wasn't quite where it is today. Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I'll tell you a funny story about this movie. Chris Gore sent me the screenplay for this movie. I don't know where he got it, about a year before it came out. Same script. And he goes, you gotta read the script and put it on your Star Wars soundtrack. So I did. And I thought this movie was going to be the greatest movie ever made after reading the script, because the tone, the design and the tone and the presentation of it all in my head was perfection. And the way, but when I finally saw all the movie, not one single choice. As much as the pod race is cool, the character design is so goofy that you don't believe any of it. You know, you're looking at these Sebulba. It's like, what cartoon is this from? And why does it look like this? I didn't believe a shred of this movie. Not one frame. Not to get everyone down. They're all like,
I was I
can't rip into it any harder than you just did, Rob.
Yeah. It's pretty good. I was one of those guys. I had gotten all the tickets first night. I had gotten this poster, which is framed against.
By the way, I love this poster.
I love this poster.
Great poster.
Yeah. I also have the other one where it's just Jake Lloyd up against the
another great poster. That's the problem. The poster, the soundtrack, the trailers
was okay.
Were all better than the movie. In fact, they dropped the original trailer in you know to promote this, and I was just reminded of how that was the first thing to really break the internet, because you had to sit there and wait for like hours for it to download over dial-up to watch it. this little Apple window. It's like,
I'll tell
we
you,
just sat there and watched it over and over and over again.
when this movie was finished, when everybody walked out of the movie perplexed,
Yes.
because they walked out. Here was something everybody loved.
Yep.
And they walked out of this movie not understanding why they felt the way they felt. They didn't. It was.
Yep.
I'll never forget. It was a perplexed. It was an entire theater of people that were looking around, going, "What just happened?" I mean, it was. I've never felt anything like that before or since. Ever.
TLJ. When I saw The Last Jedi, I walked out like that. I was shell shocked. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to think. I didn't understand what I had just watched, and I had to process it. I hadn't had to do that with a movie since Phantom Menace.
By the way, All Common Era says the pod race game on Nintendo was better than movie. I totally agree. That game was a banger. I played that game
thank you all
endlessly.
Yes.
Star Wars Racer.
Yeah, really quickly, people in the chat.
Really
quickly, people in the chat. I know we've been checking in with you guys. Thank you all for being here. Make sure you guys smash the like. It's gonna help our live stream after the fact, and drop some links to everyone here. Make sure you all are subscribed to everyone on the panel. Tom, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, if anything, I mean, I just remember the hype surrounding it, the feeling of having that big summer movie to go to and looking forward to seeing it. And, even Attack of the Clones, I mean, it took me like 2 or 3 views of this movie to kind of get to a point where I'm like, well, it's not quite what I thought. Because Robert, like, you're sent out right after the whole Darth Maul fight and the lead up at the ending to the clear, we know Palpatine's doing the puppetry work. So the ending of the film kind of leaves you in a way going, especially with the celebration and everything, where you're kind of like, oh yeah, that kind of felt like Star Wars. It kind of felt like a good movie, but just something wasn't sitting right. And then the second time I saw it, I fell asleep during the pod race, I think it was. And then I kind of started to figure out what was going on here. I'm like, none of this matters. Like, this movie starts, like, you were right, Robert, like, between George wanting to just play with his toys and not really, I think, first of all, and I've said this in the last few weeks, especially now that he sided with Bob Iger in this whole Disney proxy war thing, and people were like shocked by it. I'm like, I'm not as shocked, because we're bigger Star Wars fans than George ever was.
Yeah.
Like, he got saddled with this thing. This was not something he wanted to do for the rest of his life. And he really didn't plan on doing anything more than the original films until he saw and was working on Jurassic Park. And he's like, I want to use my toys too. And he saw those dinosaurs and he's like, I can do more now than I ever could before. And the special edition was a test to see if he could get away with it. Yeah.
I mean, if you read Rinsler's making of book, his coffee table books of the making of Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi, if you read the making of Empire Strikes Back, everything you need to know about his relationship to Star Wars or non-relationship to it is in that book, because he had so little to do with Empire Strikes Back and it almost ruined his company. It's really interesting.
Okay, that being said, guys, it's 25th anniversary. The generation that saw it as a kid in the theater is Fernando's generation, right? This is my favorite movie, Star Wars movie. My first Star Wars film I saw in the theater. My older sister, boyfriend, at the same time took me and younger brother. This film is my childhood. I think this is actually now what Fernie said. Thanks for being here, Fernie. Because of people like Fernie and the last 10 years of garbage wars, Phantom Menace has a new life.
That's what I was saying.
I think it's going to do really well. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think the great thing about this, I mean, it's like all of these franchises that are now, I mean, Star Wars is almost 50 years old. We're 3 years away from its 50th anniversary. Wow. And like the Bond franchise, whenever you come to something, really shapes your opinion of it. Mm-hmm. And if you had seen, I mean, this was, after all, episode 1. If you sat down and watched this, if I was 7 years old or 8 years old and watched this movie in a theater, and it was the first Star Wars movie I ever saw, it'd be the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. I wouldn't know any different. And it would shape my life. And I'll tell you something, after seeing this, it would be very difficult to go back and watch the original Star Wars and come away with it with the experience that we who saw it opening weekend in 77 would have had. Because the progress of technology, we're not going to be seeing the same things that. So it's really about the time of your life in which you experience these things, and civilization, like we talked about, evolution, things change so quickly now. And that's why I never, if somebody says they like Phantom Menace, they were a kid when they saw it, I'm like, that's amazing. That was great. You felt that way. And it's not, I would never want to invalidate someone's opinion, because their opinion, they were there. I was not the same kid that I was when I first saw Star Wars. The most disappointing movie I've ever seen in my entire life was Return of the Jedi. Yeah. But I won't get into that now.
Or Godfather 3. But we won't go there.
But no, but I liked Godfather 3 way more than I liked
All right, I'm sorry, but these guys, they had to go. The motherfuckers had to go.
Oh my god.
That's because Tom probably saw Jedi, and was that your first Star Wars movie in the theater?
Well, technically, but I don't remember it. In fact, there was this point when I was younger, because for those who don't know, it took 3 years for Jedi to hit video.
Yep.
So when I was a kid, in my brain, I must have fallen asleep at the very end of the movie or something, because I would have been like 3 when the movie came out. And I remember my brain, the end of Return of the Jedi is Luke and Vader are fighting, and Luke like knocks Vader's helmet off. And that's when he's like there with him, and like a lot of that other stuff I don't recall. So when I saw it on video, there's like this whole chunk of the movie. I'm like, when did this happen? So to me, it was like a whole different experience. So for years as a young kid, Jedi was fine. I liked it on the same level as the rest of the films. As an adult, I'm more with you. I don't like it as much. It's more of a repeat. The only thing that movie has going for it is I think that the final battle between Vader and Luke is amazing, but I don't even think Lucas understood what he was doing there. Because if you look at it, it's kind of more Vader fighting for Luke's soul. Yeah, because he could have just let Luke kill the Emperor, and he would have got exactly what he wanted since the end of Empire, but he didn't. He stopped him. And from that moment on, it's this, tit for tat battle between the two of them until he finally decides to throw, Palpatine down the thing. But I've got an argument with Paulie, because I said, yeah, you cannot like Godfather 3, but it has more story in it and more character development for Al Pacino's character than Return of the Jedi did for Luke and Vader and stuff. And he got pissed at me. So that's
why. It's funny you mentioned like being a kid, what you remember when a kid. One thing I will never forget is Revenge of the Sith. Opening night at midnight. I was at an AMC 30 in Pasadena, Texas. The entire parking lot was full of people. Every screen was showing Star Wars. 30 screens, sold out. Everybody's there. We watched the movie. We're walking out. We're talking about it. And this dad has this little girl dressed up like Leia. She's got the bun. She's got the hair. And she goes, Daddy, why did Anakin do this and this? And he goes, because, sweetie, he's Darth Vader. And she goes, Anakin Skywalker's Darth Vader. She had seen it, but she didn't quite grasp it.
Yeah.
That this guy that she'd watched in the other movies, this hero was really the bad guy the whole time and was gonna be this evil guy. You go back to Phantom Menace, how do you believe that this little kid that's like, are you an angel, is gonna be this the most evil Sith Lord you could ever imagine? This nice little sweet boy is gonna be that. It's almost impossible.
Well, I think that's the prequels' biggest weakness, is that they don't do a good job of telling that story. And what's really interesting is when you look at what George Lucas was doing with the original Star Wars and how his influences were a lot of Kurosawa and a lot of Kurosawa and Joseph Campbell, the problem with the prequels is he didn't have those same kinds of influences in the same way he had them. He'd become kind of a recluse, and he, because he was George Lucas, he couldn't go anywhere. He'd sort of ended the human race. And when he made Star Wars, in the first place, that there was that entire vibrant that Tom was bringing up earlier. All of his friends were some of the greatest filmmakers in the world. I mean, his wife was editing Taxi Driver for Scorsese, and they all watched the movie, and they all gave, and the people that were making these films, there was a lot more. I mean, Lucas, he got to do whatever he wanted with Phantom Menace. And if he only had a producer like Gary Kurtz who could have said, hey, and then had some input, and everybody wasn't, worshiping the ground he walked on, we might have had a different movie. Or if he just produced them. I mean, I kind of wish that he'd produced, and then he picked his 3 favorite directors. Like if Steven Spielberg, I think one of the greatest the greatest missed opportunities in the world is Steven Spielberg directing this movie.
Well, they had two issues there. I think he did ask Ron Howard, and Ron said no because his experience with working with him on Willow was basically he had George over his shoulder the whole time.
Right.
And then Steven couldn't because of the whole like it not being union.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
But he did
he
did direct the sequence towards the end of the film, right?
In Star Wars Episode 3, I believe he did
Revenge of the Sith?
Yoda sequence, yes.
Yeah.
But no, it's funny because Lucas made Star Wars on a challenge. I don't know if people know, not many people know that, but he had basically bankrupted Zoetrope Studios, which is Francis Ford Coppola's company, and lost them a 3-picture deal with Warner Brothers over THX 1138 flopping.
Yep.
And he was in this corner being bitched at by Coppola and his wife. And they're like, why can't you just make a funny movie or a kids movie? Why do you got to be such a dead fish and make stuff like THX that nobody wants to see? And he's like, fine, I'll go make a comedy and a kids film. And his comedy and his kids film were American Graffiti and Star Wars. So, I mean, it was kind of funny that he was kind of backed into this corner to become the filmmaker that he became, because that's what I was saying. If it was up to George, he'd be still making tone poem crap like THX. Right?
A lot of division.
He's not into a lot of that other stuff. No. So yeah.
A lot of division in liking old Star Wars, sequels, prequels, all that stuff. But we can all agree on Spanish Baby Yoda.
Como cuando tu esposa te dice, lava los trastes. No voy a lavar ni madre. Nada voy a lavar. Eso no es cosa de hombres, es cosa de viejas. Yo no voy a lavar nada. Lávalos tú. ¿Eh? Nada, un TikTok. Un TikTok que está ahorita.
¿De qué? Okay.
No, ya lo voy a borrar porque nada, está bien chafa, ni me gustó. Sí, no, déjamelo. Sí, de hecho, estaba poniendo música para ponerme a lavarlo, ¿sabes? Okay. ¿No sabes dónde está la esponja?
Never back down. Never back. Once you this is not things that men do. Then don't say you're gonna wash the dishes. I wash them twice a day. You're here on the Latino Slant. So excited to have all these great people in the chat, hanging out, Twitter and on YouTube. Some fun people in the chat. We got some super chats, but this all-star panel, it's turned out to be an all-star panel because our buddies are here. The great Robert Meyer Burnett, Stone Cold Loki, Tom of Midnight's Edge. I mean, I just can listen to you guys all night long. You guys having fun?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Gotta love pontificating.
Yes. I don't know where Tom went. We have an on camera rule, sir. I think
he's in the back. He's in the Bat Tom cave.
He's in the back. Yeah, he had to go do some. Let's bring in our producer for a second.
You sent me to the back, so I was.
No. What's up, Fletcher?
¿Qué pasó?
¿Qué pasó, amigo?
Hola, gente. Todo el mundo. Yes.
Hey,
Stone Loki.
Okay, so I had a job for Fletcher to do too, and he's just been just a great producer here for the channel. We love him. None of you guys can have him. I'll cut you all. He put together a video of this year's other anniversary movies. I think there's something going on here, RMB. I think there's a reason why there's some big marketing behind some of these releases. Because I don't see us creating new legends.
Well, that's the real question.
Mm-hmm.
Is what are they going to remake in 20 years or 40 years, or what are they going to show? And you know, the actual business of movies, when the studios are now making movies for a global marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it used to be that like these movies were being made for a domestic marketplace, and yeah, of course, if they worked foreign, that was fine. But now our movies from the studio level, the money that we're talking about now is so extreme. You know, they want to you spend $200 million and maybe you'll make $1 billion. The whole economics of the movie business are so far out in space that and the way that's what everybody expects the studios to do, rather than if you made like Smile for $20 million and it makes $200 million, that's a win. That's what the studios used to do. All Hunt for Red October, $30 million. Beverly Hills Cop.
Ooh.
How much did that cost? And it was the #1 movie of 1984, I think.
15, 20 tops, I think it was.
Maybe, yeah. And then actually, maybe would that make more money than Temple of Doom? I don't know. Temple of Doom's 40th anniversary.
The funny thing about Beverly Hills Cop is it came out during Christmas. So I think technically it's the highest grossing film of 84, but since it came out in Christmas and made most of its money in 85.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, but that's the thing is, and also the diversity. And when I say diversity, I mean diversity in storytelling. The diversity of the stories that studios would make: period pieces, action adventures, thrillers, adult erotic thrillers, dramas, comedies. The studios ran the gamut of all different kinds of movies. So
and you can add in diversity of people in there as well. A lot of those films, me and Tom talk about all the fucking time. We were more diverse back then than we ever were.
Yep.
You know, playing out a varied, what do you call it? A myriad of roles. It was fantastic.
It was, and that whole thing has changed. And nowadays, you know, you'd have people get mad at like the language in 48 Hours. You know, the way Nick Nolte's talking to Beverly Scott, to Eddie Murphy. You know, and it was because people lived more in the real world. People were more seasoned. Yeah. And nowadays everyone is so in there. We live in a bizarre world where people aren't really living in the real world.
Yeah.
They're living in this world of whatever they want. They think that it's bizarre. So what we are missing, I think, from our population is an understanding of the actual mechanics of day-to-day life. And how people are. Everybody wants to be quantified. Well, this person's this way and this person's that way. And it's like, that's not true at all of anyone. And everyone's being distilled down to their like component parts. It's so weird.
And that's the type of entertainment we're sadly getting nowadays. Not everything. No. We have to dig deep to look for it. There is quality. But let's play this video. And if you guys, we can stop and go if you guys on the panel have any questions. So these are, guys, films that are getting a re-release in the theaters, like a big budget release, you know, some sort of release, right, Fletcher?
Yeah, so basically it's everything that is getting released, you know, this day, that are re-release on major, you know, release movie theaters. And some are partial, but they're pretty big to list.
So that was in June.
I want to go see Muppets.
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
I hope that means we're getting a 4K release of it.
Yeah,
hopefully. But they don't say that.
It's pretty sad. Even though I love Muppets Take Manhattan, it's pretty sad when that's the first Muppet movie we get in 4K.
Yeah.
Yep. They don't even know. We don't even have the Planet of the Apes movies in 4K.
Tell me about it.
And they're re-releasing, you know, they're putting out a new Planet of the Apes movie. 20th Century Fox would have been all over that. We would have had some 5-disc set. The last time they put out Planet of the Apes is
Disney
a beautiful
now, right?
slipcase. Yeah. Disney has, other than the Cameron titles, Disney has only remastered one Fox movie in the last 5 years.
What was it?
One, I can't say. I can't say no.
Did you get
what Speed done before them? That's right. Yeah, you're right.
Did you get that beautiful Blu-ray box set for Planet of the Apes, the orange and white one?
The one I have is the slipcase book
I have
that opens up. It's beautiful.
Yep.
I missed out on the bigger version. I wish I'd gotten it, but it's the same discs. It's just in a bigger case with a big book and all that stuff. Yeah.
Here's July.
But yeah, no, they're due for a 4K scan. You're right,
yeah,
Robert.
Never-ending story.
Oh my
was that God. 2 though? Was that 1 or 2? It said
one.
2 underneath it. Okay.
Let me see.
Nobody wants to see part 2.
No.
Okay. That's two.
Real Rendo, 70 years. I watched that last night.
Really?
My favorite Hitchcock movie. It's my favorite Hitchcock movie.
It's a great
so
film.
Good.
Rob for the win. Yes.
So good.
2 Hitchcock films. Is there an audience for this, Robert?
Well, I think that if there might be, I mean, I'm willing to bet that most people that watch our YouTube channels, I hate to say this, maybe they saw Psycho, maybe they saw The Birds, but they haven't seen Hitchcock movies.
Not all of them, no. But he's got great box sets out there, so yeah.
This is for Tom. Caligula.
Yeah. Well, I knew this was coming because they're doing a 4K scan of this, yeah.
Well, also there's the whole remastered, I mean the recut version of this that I can't wait
That's
to
what I wonder
see.
if that's what they're. I think that might be what they're bringing out for this version.
I love Malcolm McDowell in Fright Night. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's Roddy McDowell.
Well, that's Roddy McDowell. Yeah. Malcolm McDowell's in this one.
Boy, I would kill to go see this in a theater.
Right. I know this one has a 4K scan.
I can't wait to go see this in a theater with an audience.
Better not fuck with this movie.
They're gonna freak out.
They better not F with this movie.
No, they won't.
Wow.
But it's got trigger warnings on it when they show it on cable now.
Yeah, of course.
Trigger
you know what's
means-
funny about this,
trigger
Rob?
means
I'm sure you'll remember this. When this movie came out on television when I was a kid, because I actually saw it for the first time on television, they cut none of the N words out. They cut the F words out, and maybe I think the S word if there was in there.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing that I remember being cut out that was really messed up was they cut out the fart noises.
Yep, they did.
They left all the other stuff in there besides the F word and the S word and the fart noises. Yeah. So I remember the N word being in there quite prevalently. Yes.
October, you got Mean Girls 20 years ago.
Wow.
That was pretty fun. That was a good movie.
I liked it.
I wonder how it'll do in comparison to the remake they just had come out.
27
years.
Yeah. Yeah. I cannot wait. Your mission now, priest. Yeah. Nilu Dallas Motipas.
I love this movie.
Can we just
Are you
acknowledge? Can we just acknowledge Fletcher Williams' great production quality here with the pumpkin and the November?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Good job, Fletcher.
Coven Dallas. Come on,
baby.
so good.
Come on, man. Come on, my man.
Super green.
You know, I'm wondering, the modern audiences don't talk about this movie a lot. Like, I don't hear a lot about this on in online discourse. I'd be curious. I'd love to see this with an audience full of people that had never seen it before.
Yeah.
To see their reaction.
I think I remember it was a pretty empty theater when I saw it when it first came out.
I think a lot of these audiences just don't go see these movies that they activate.
Well, this is a movie that has a cult following now, right?
But
Like,
this
I don't
one-
remember it doing
No.
so well when it first came out, but yeah.
But I'm curious too, Robert, what this modern audience would think of this, because it's got everything they want and more.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
it's so franche. It's just the sensibility of this movie it's just so, it's like a European comic book. It's like reading an issue of Heavy Metal.
Speaking of
Yes.
France,
Well, it feels like that section out of heavy metal.
you know
Yeah.
what you know what we saw the other night and we absolutely loved, and Romy had never seen it, is Frankenheimer's Ronin.
Oh, dude, that movie's so good.
Dude.
Yeah, I just watched that not too long ago too.
I
Yeah.
ambushed you with a coffee cup.
Yeah, dude, he had so many great lines. Sean Bean in the 90s was always playing that, just like, like scurvy, like can't trust this guy.
That's the one he kicks out of the group, right? Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
here's your money. You know not to say shit. Bye.
That cast is so great. The
cast is-
score, everything about that is a great man. And that
This
was
is a
one
great
of
cast
Frank-
too, Fifth Element. But
Oh yeah.
yeah. Did you remember? Do you remember? And really fast on one last thing in Ronin, the guy that they go, he's making the little Japanese.
Michael Lonsdale. That's Hugo Drax from Moonraker.
That's Drax.
Yeah,
From Moonraker. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got it.
Michael Lonsdale. He's great. He had. I mean, Moonraker. I will always apologize for it. I understand, but he has one of the great lines in any Bond film. He says, "Take care of Mr. Bond. See that some harm comes to him." It's just great.
White Christmas 70 years.
Wow.
Well, that was it. Okay. What stands out, guys, for you?
That there's very few 1984 films, and I mean, look, this is just the top. Shit, I'll do the top 20.
Well, these are the ones that are getting releases.
Right, but this is what I'm saying here. We're in the 40th anniversary of Ghostbusters, which I bitched that I can't believe they released Ghostbusters Frozen Empire in March. Why didn't you release Ghostbusters 1, 2, and Afterlife in May and then drop this the first weekend of June instead? That makes no sense, because then it'd be the 40th anniversary you're doing. And then you had Indiana Jones. We already knew that one. Gremlins, Karate
At
Kid,
Christmas.
Police Academy,
Yeah.
Footloose, Beverly Hills Cop, Star
Yeah.
Trek 3, Terms of Endearment, Romancing the Stone, Splash, Purple Rain. That's just like
Wow.
the top 12, man. And I could keep going.
Purple
The
Rain?
list goes on. Yeah.
I don't know
that's
why they
84?
don't. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
that should be getting because they're putting the 4K out this year. You would think they'd be doing a theatrical release of that, wouldn't you, Robert?
I mean, I would look. Yeah, I'd make it exclusive, like promote it like you would a Taylor Swift concert.
Well, here you
movie.
go. Here's a great list here of things that are turning 30 and 40.
Pulp
and
Fiction.
Yeah, that's the other thing. 1994 is one of the greatest
84,
years.
94, yep.
Oh my God, Pulp
The
Fiction.
Crow. Why isn't The Crow being re-released in theaters?
Because
Yeah,
they're
they're
doing
doing
the
the
new
movie.
movie. They're
Forrest
doing
Gump.
the new movie.
Pulp Fiction.
But that's
They
what I
wanna-
mean. The new Crow is coming up, but why not release the old Crow?
They don't want
There's
to.
two different
have them
companies
side
own
by
the
side.
rights now. That's why, yeah.
The Professional was
Paramount
30
owns it.
years ago?
Yep.
No.
Yeah, 94 was a hell of a year for movies.
Shawshank? Jesus.
Shawshank.
Yeah.
Ed
Redemption.
Wood?
Forrest Gump as well. And
There's not a
Pulp
bad
Fiction.
film here. Well,
Oh yeah, no,
Interview with the
94 is a
Vampire.
great year.
Interview with the Vampire. Yeah. True Lies.
I liked Interview with the Vampire.
I
Yeah, I
liked
don't
it,
mind
but
that
you could
one.
put
I
it up
did
with these
too.
other films, Rob. I mean,
Hey, no, it was a big hit that year.
No,
It
it
was.
It was huge.
it wasn't Lestat though, man. That was not Lestat.
Louis, quit whining, Louis.
And then here you go, 1984.
Yeah.
I mean, all of these.
Yeah, and Footloose needs a new 4K scan because I don't know if, for those who don't keep
This
up
is
with
Spinal
4K,
Tap.
yeah.
I'd love to see that in the theater.
Oh yeah, well they're doing a sequel for that too now.
I don't want to see that. Don't want to see that. Turning 50. Well, we got Blazing Saddles.
Oh, that's next. You're talking. Oh no,
I think Chinatown's getting a 4K release this year. I'm surprised that's not getting theatrical either. But
Polanski.
Oh, I'd see
Polanski,
this
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
I'd see that in the movie theater.
Didn't they do? I wouldn't be surprised if they don't do that because didn't they do The Godfather like 2 years ago? For the
Well, what
anniversary?
happened is I don't know about anything. Remember Rob when the Cinerama Dome closed down for remodeling? It didn't have the arc light around it.
Right.
It was an
Yeah.
empty
Yeah.
movie. It was an empty parking lot, right? That's where you
Yeah.
went to park. And when right before it was shutting down for like 3-4 months, they started playing all these movies. God,
Yeah. I went and saw Apocalypse Now there, and I ran into Martin. I had a conversation with Martin Landau. In the
Nice.
refreshment stand. Yeah.
dude, I saw Giant there. I didn't run into anyone.
You know what? I would have made him say, "Let's shoot this fucker."
Well, I think it was before that. I think it might have been before.
Oh, it was before Edward. You mean? Oh, okay, gotcha. I
No,
thought
it
you
was,
meant like
no, maybe it was after. I don't know when they remodeled it, but yeah, that was But all those movies, they showed a ton of stuff too. It was great.
Yeah,
they showed a lot. I did see Giant and Lawrence of Arabia. This is 60 years.
Wow.
You know why they aren't releasing Mary Poppins?
That is a travesty that it doesn't have a 4K scan.
Why?
And the
I
reason
know.
I keep bringing this up, guys, is because for them to do these re-releases, they generally have to have a 4K scan.
Yes, that and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Walt's greatest achievements
There's a lot of
in
great
live
ones.
action.
The answer, Paulie, you're looking for is because Disney's embarrassed of all its old work. They're so embarrassed they don't.
Why is there
use-
4K of Fan fucking Tasia?
Right?
So Cinemark is releasing The Crow. Yeah. So
Oh, that's good.
I was talking to Fletcher there. AMC and Cinemark. The Matrix is getting a cinema release.
That would be the anniversary this year too. Yep.
Yeah. So
Well, and that's the other thing going back to the Phantom Menace. You had the Phantom Menace come out and then the Matrix, man. I mean, the Matrix made the Phantom
Dude.
Menace look like, some kids movie, like Rob was saying. Like, it's like, no. The Matrix is having the impact Star Wars had when it first came out now.
correct. When they
Comparison.
came out, it blew the
It was
Matrix
crazy.
blew
Yep.
me away. When the second Matrix came out, it was like Phantom Menace. It was like, what the F? What?
You could
the-
have every single one of those movies. You have 1 week where you just bring the movie back. That's all you got to do.
Well,
You've got these companies like
That was how Disney made their money for decades.
Yeah,
well, and I was just going to
so
say, this is redonkulous because we just had the 100th anniversary of Disney, right? Why weren't they releasing 2 of their classic Disney classics in theaters every month, remastered in 4K? You could have had Cinderella, Bambi, Snow White, all that stuff leading up to that Wish movie that they made that nobody went to see, right? All year long. It would have been
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah, I don't understand why they didn't do the same thing with releasing new versions of their films on home video, and Warner Brothers as well. You know, and now we've got Columbia and MGM with their anniversaries. I mean, you know what? I think the problem is, and we've been saying this on all of our channels, I think the people that work at motion picture studios know less about the movie business now than they've ever known.
You're right.
And
you said that today, or someone said that in their live stream, saying that that none of them are storytellers.
No, and I'll tell you, it's
Was that you?
One of the I say that all the time. I mean,
Okay.
that's why I am excited about someone like Dan Lin going to Netflix, because he was a studio executive at Warner Brothers, then left, got a production deal, and produced a lot of movies. And now he's going to head up the film division. He took over from Ted Sarandos, and they're going to go. And the first thing he said is like, we're going to start genre divisions. You know, he's like, we're going to have a comedy division, a sci-fi division, a horror division. And he set all that up. And he's like, why? They're going to make movies for cheaper. They're going to make movies better. And he's somebody that came from the studio system and then made his mark as a producer. And that's what we need more of. And the problem is everybody thinks the movie business is the one business in the world where everybody thinks they know how to make a movie. Doesn't matter if they made one. Everyone, well, I've been watching them. How hard can it be?
So this is going to be our last topic, but let's pin it, because let's read these super chats, and then we're going to jump it back into that, because I do have something to share with you guys regarding what Robert Meyer Burnett said. Matt Cave Gaming for $20. Thank you so much. There's magic that comes with seeing a movie at a theater. It's something that just doesn't happen at home, even with a great system. I think these anniversary re-releases are a great thing, bringing people together again. Loki,
so we fought so hard for that during the coof. We fought so hard for that. We wanted to go to the theaters. We wanted to see movies. Some people were going to the drive-ins. Drive-ins had a revival. There is something magic about a group of people that have never talked to each other, never met each other, coming together, sitting there, laughing together, gasping in horror together, whatever it is, reciting lines of a movie together, whatever it is. There's something magic about that we need to hold on to and keep, and that we never need to let go, because it brings us together. It's like Star Wars. It binds us. It penetrates us. It brings the galaxy. It brings us all together. So yeah, no, absolutely.
Cool. Nick Brome for $9.99. Watching The Phantom Menace was akin to making love to a tentacled alien who is disguised as a beautiful woman. You're excited at first, but walk away feeling confused and disappointed. And may I add also too, like maybe in slight discomfort.
or elated, depending on what you like.
Oh, Rob.
Sad part is Rob likes that analogy more than he liked the Phantom Menace.
Hi-oh. Hi-oh. I wish I had like a quick like bump thing. All I got is my mustache here.
That?
Oh, there you go.
Or one of the other.
Love it.
Is fine.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you, Nick. We got a couple more here. Brandon, the anime guy, for $4.99. He has a great channel as well. I love it when he comes on and talks stuff. Anime. KOTOR and KOTOR 2 are the Star Wars stories. We deserved vastly superior stories and the best in the past 30 years easily. Guys?
Well, here's the thing. I played the first night. I didn't play. Is there Knights of the Old Republic 2? I played Knights of the Old Republic 1. The first night.
There's 2.
It's great. I mean, it was great. But here's the thing. The problem that I have with Star Wars is it's only now about itself. Whereas the original Star Wars films used Joseph Campbell for inspiration, used Kurosawa for inspiration. I am so tired of Star Wars not being about anything. Luke was all of us. We are Luke Skywalker. And watching his journey, he was just a farm boy. Harrison Ford, Han Solo was a truck driver. They were the everyman that got caught up and embroiled in all this stuff. Star Wars has been so far up its own ass. I mean, that's why I liked Andor so much. I'm watching a World War II rebellion story. I'm watching the French resistance being formed. This is actually about something. as opposed to when I was watching Ahsoka, I'm like, why am I supposed to care about any of this? What does this have to do with me as a human being watching this story? What am I supposed to take away from this? And the problem with our franchises is they've started to become all about themselves, and they're not telling us stories. Like, all movies are somehow allegorical to our own experiences as human beings on planet Earth. And I'll tell you something. If you look at Captain America, the Winter Soldier, think about how that movie opens with the mall in Washington, D.C., and Sam Wilson's running around, and you see him being lapped by Steve Rogers.
10 years ago.
10 years ago, on your left.
On your left.
And then they get frustrated. Well, Sam Wilson gets frustrated, and Cap and him sit down, and they have a conversation. They're talking.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about a superhero. It's about two soldiers mutually respecting one another and their experience. It's their own meet cute. And it's such a real scene that even though it's in a superhero movie, it's a scene about human beings, two men, two brothers in arms, two soldiers meeting, getting to know one another, saying hello, mutual respect. And then Scarlett Johansson pulls up in a hot car and takes Captain America away. And then, but Captain America goes to the VA hospital and visits where Sam is working, like he said he was going to do. This is the reason why a movie like The Marvels doesn't work. When you're watching The Marvels, it's just like it's so far removed from our reality. And the thing about the Marvel Cinematic Universe that used to work so well is we related. It was as if these superheroes existed in our world and we believed in them. Tony Stark, we knew who that guy was. He might have been, a rich dude, but he's the guy, getting bottle service at the club, but we knew who he was. And when you saw what he had to do to make that Iron Man suit and all that, we still related to him. But now these franchise properties are so off the rails, they don't know how to tell stories that their own audiences could relate to. Why did Ghostbusters 1 work so well? Because you're watching these workaday guys. They were basically plumbers. It's just their job was to capture ghosts. But they were like New York dudes, and they just happen to be geeky, nerdy. We like spirituality and the spirit world and all that. And we, the audience, knew who those guys were. And
they all were little different variations of each other, which we connected. Some connected more with Venkman, with
Spengler,
Murray.
Egon, and these were all people that we could relate to. Despite all the supernatural shenanigans, they were reacting to them the way we would.
Yeah.
And that's why we love that movie so much. Oh, and now, you're watching all this, and the people that are making these films today, they don't understand that. They don't get it. And it's frustrating to watch. And why I think they don't? Because stories are inherently literary. And ultimately, the way literature works, the way you tell that kind of a story, even though movies are, of course, cinematic, they still at their basis are telling literary-based stories, meaning the devices you use to tell tales all come from literature. And nobody effing reads anymore. Nobody's read Mark Twain. Nobody's read Dickens. Nobody's read the classics that form the basis of narrative. And I don't just mean,
or we go back to let's go to these times right now, right? With all these, bozos being activists. Have you kids read 1984? Have you read Brave New World?
No, I know they haven't read Mark Twain, or they would have tried to cancel him.
It's true, but that's the thing. But I do think that that's the problem with the people that are making these movies are now constructs. They're made as a corporate. Movies are a collision of commerce and art. Right. And it used to be that there was that push-pull balance. Now the studios are like, let's make a sequel to Ghostbusters. I wonder who's going to want to make it. It should be that a filmmaker should come to a studio and go, like Ryan Coogler did, I have an idea to make a Rocky sequel.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I know I know me and Tom have varied opinions on Creed. However, you're absolutely right, because Coogler had a passion for it.
Yeah,
and you said that about the directors of the 80s, 70s, 80s. They all were locked in on what they were doing. You talked about R&B, about how Spielberg would set up, the truck sequence in Raiders.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we can't get that anymore.
People don't know how.
They just copy, and it's a bad copy.
The people that we have directing these movies don't have the chops anymore. And people, the studio's like, yeah, we'll get somebody we can control. Well, you don't know how to make movies either. Control them to do what?
Right.
Do you know how to shoot a scene? I mean, even, when I would look at like cinematographers' reels, whenever you look at you get all these beautiful pictures. Like, I'm like, I don't want to see that. I want to see how you shot a scene of two people talking at a table at a restaurant. Show me that. That's what I want to see. I want to, the funny thing about that is I don't think anyone really understands. They just don't know the craft. Very few, and look at the directors we still love. Even David Fincher, they showed a new restoration. There's a new 8K restoration of Seven. They showed at the TCM festival last week. That movie is going to be 30 years old next year.
I will say
30 years old.
I will say, I think that's why I was so invested in Civil War, was because of those discussions those characters were having with each other. I absolutely bought it.
Well, you love they were all about
love the journalist thing. Reminded me of Salvador, Under Fire, all those other photojournalist movies. I was like, oh, these characters are great. I didn't care about the action or the backdrop. I cared about what these guys were saying.
But Alex Garland, novelist.
Yeah,
he was a novelist. He wrote The Beach that Danny Boyle later went and made. And
right.
you look at these people.
I read The Beach.
There were storytellers.
Yeah.
And now, I think now people, they don't have the background that they need. Like, even if you're going to make a science fiction show or you're going to make a Star Trek show, you should at least know what Star Trek is. Like, have a working knowledge.
Yeah, we don't really have creative producers anymore. And I think you were also referring back to what we were talking about this morning too, Paulie, because that's what we were getting on. And that's just it. Because we were talking about how we don't have the Bob Evans anymore. We don't even have like the Katzenbergs anymore, or the Joel Silvers really anymore. These guys that were visionary producers who saw beyond, the potential of they saw these little films and they're like, well, we can bank on these and give them a shot, put in the right actor and watch it fly. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have that anymore. That's one of the things that's really missing out there. And I think we also learned more recently that Kevin Feige isn't as great as either as we thought he was.
Well, they can't even storyboard at Disney. They're like, no, we don't storyboard because no one wins awards at storyboarding. We use a whiteboard. So they're using a whiteboard to come up with stuff for movies instead of storyboarding the actual movies. How do you not do a storyboard when you're trying to, okay, this is how we're going to film this, and this is what this scene will look like? How many great storyboards have you seen where they've had pictures and you're like, man, that looks just like the scene they did in Alien or Aliens or Phantom Menace. They just don't do it anymore, and they admit it. And why? Because whoever won an award for a storyboard, and you hear that
also
come out of their mouth.
The people that are storyboarding are from different companies.
I got R&B for 10 more minutes, so let's jump into this because this all is part of what we have today. What we have today now are algorithm movies, Algor films, whatever you want to call it, right? Is not everything you guys talked about. It's none of that. It's numbers, guys. This movie, which is arguably a pretty bad film, as far as acting, did very well, had legs, but it didn't matter because what mattered was that the household clicks on Netflix, 1.6 million in its first week. I think it's jumped to over 4 million. This is a new day and age. You talked about Lynn taking over Netflix, R&B. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I'll tell you something else though. That movie made over $200 million theatrically.
That's why it had legs.
And I've often said that the part of the reason when you spend $200 million making Red Notice for Netflix, you've got The Rock, you've got Ryan Reynolds, you got Gal Gadot. They spend $200 million. That $200 million is poof, gone. There's because they're not releasing it theatrically. I do not understand why Netflix would possibly spend $200 million on a movie like Red Notice when J-Lo had a movie called The Mother that was made for 40 million that got more views than Red Notice did.
Well, it's
And
the same thing, because that's why she's doing Atlas, because she she's been very successful with her two streaming only movies with Mother and with Shotgun Wedding.
And this is the problem with the business now. It used to be the business was very simple to understand. You make good movies, you put them out in theaters, people go see them, and you make a profit. Nowadays, they've forgotten this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like people would watch things if they are good and people like them. That's how you make money. It's a very simple formula that worked for 100 years.
Yeah.
And now with streaming, it's like, how can anybody possibly think, well, we're going to spend $200 million on a movie that no one's ever seen and no one knows anything about and put it on our streaming service? Why would people watch it?
And this film, guys, when it came out, did not do well the opening weekend, but it had like, so this is an example, yes, of a successful box office run, but something like so this is a success, but now they're saying, well, Challengers is a success is because, listen, any money it makes is gravy, Tom, because it's going to be on Amazon. I can't fucking keep
Amazon
up.
movie.
I can't. What does that mean? So okay, it cost $55 million to make, but it only made 15 million opening weekend. In my book, that's a flop, but it's a hit. What the fuck is going on?
Well, it's kind of, I don't know if it ever will actually make money. That, I guess, is up to Amazon if it's worth it or not, because basically what they're doing is using it to amortize new subscribers and movies that people watch every month on Amazon, and that's portions of the Amazon Prime money that they get to keep as opposed to paying out to a licensed thing, right? So it's always pennies and whatnot at the end of the day. But like when these movies are made for streaming, there's usually deals in place and stuff like that to where, yeah, $55 million for a movie like this, if it makes 15 million this weekend, makes another 7 to 10 next weekend, it will have made most of its production back. At that point, it's just gravy for Amazon because they're amortizing it with their streaming service. It was kind of like how DVD used to save these movies back in the day, but the difference here is the streaming services are the underwear gnomes. They have no idea where the money's going to come from, right? If you've seen the South Park episode, they steal the underwear, profit. They don't know what the question mark is in the middle of how they actually profit, because they never actually stood back and looked at how they profited before. And that's a whole nother conversation that we've had many times on Midnight's Edge in the Morning, how they've killed their whole ancillary market. And that goes back to the whole point of why we're here today and why these re-releases are more popular than ever. Because in the past, yeah, we had them from time to time, but it was very rare that you had one that was a big hit, like the Star Wars Special Edition, right? Like that was a rarity.
I mean, there's hits now almost every week now of re-releases.
That's just it, right? Yeah. So, I mean, in this case, that's why I wouldn't be surprised if Phantom Menace does this better this time around than it did in 2012. But anyway.
Also, the problem with streaming services like Amazon's business is not making movies. All of this is just a loss leader to get people to join Prime. Yep. So, you're going to spend $175, and so they're making this stuff. They don't care. And I don't know what the actual tax implications are, but when you're making these movies, it's marketing for them. I don't know how but so they don't need to make money. But my whole thing is, look, eventually, there's no business in the world where eventually someone says, wait a minute, you spent $55 million to make a movie, and did you make any money back? And right now it's up to 25 million worldwide. Now, I would imagine being what kind of a movie this is, and tennis still plays well around the world. So I would imagine this movie probably will earn out. I don't know how much money it's going to make, but Amazon doesn't even care. And so if they don't care, they're putting this out. They're giving it a theatrical release probably because Zendaya demanded it. Her and the director demanded it.
And the 15 million it cost for her just to be in this film.
Yeah, of course. And so she wants to make sure. But when you have areas of the business where they don't care about a return, that's not good. And that's true for Apple. That's true for, like, why would Apple, a 3.5-hour movie like Killers of the Flower Moon? I understand Martin Scorsese, or they made Ridley Scott's, Napoleon. and all that, and you're spending all this money for them. They don't care. So what's bad about this is you should always care, because the money, there's got to be money somewhere, and what it does is it skews expectations and it changes the business. And Netflix, you know, God bless Netflix, they've been licensing movies from all over the world. We're getting great Korean science fiction and horror stuff, like that Hellbound show that was made by the guy who made Train to Busan, and we're getting to see Moving. Somebody keeps finally caught up with Moving. That was a really cool show. So we're getting to see things from around the world that we wouldn't normally get to see. So that's cool.
How much time do you got? You got to go?
Yeah, I do. I have a show at 9:30.
Okay, so that being said, let's
feed the dogs.
Then let's bring this up. Let's put a pin on that. We'll come back to it, Loki and Tom. But we need Robert Meyer Burnett to react to, and I want to get your impersonation of how a Latino says these things. The more offensive you could be, the better, R&B.
Okay.
Because that's, we want to have some fun here. So here we have how Latinos pronounce cell phone providers. We're getting really specific here. Are you ready, R&B?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Latinos pronounce cell phone companies.
Okay, how's this guy gonna say AT&T?
AT&T.
Tom.
I think Rob's probably pretty close. Otherwise, it's gonna be like 80.
Loki.
He and he, like he instead of the T.
Oh, okay.
Might be right.
All right. Going the other way. All right, here we go. Let's listen. Here we go. ATT.
I like that.
All right, ATT.
No mucha novia.
One more, MB. T-Mobile. One more, baby. Come on. Let me hear it.
T-Mobile.
Loki.
I agree with Rob. T-Mobile.
Okay. Tom?
Yeah, that, or I'll go with what like Loki said last time. He won't pronounce the T. It'll be like Himobile or something like that. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
¿Cómo se compañía de teléfono? Oh, esa todo el mundo la tiene en mi casa. Ese es T-Movie.
He totally fucked that one up. All right. We could.
I love it when they surprise us.
I got more here, but I know you got to go R&B.
Varizon.
Oh, okay. There you go. Varizon. There we go.
Varizon.
Y está aquí. Esa es buena.
Verizon.
Pretty close.
Verizon.
Y está aquí.
Ooh, Sprint. Sprint. What do you got, R&B?
Sprint.
Loki. What do you got?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Spree. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, son bien ladrones. Es Sprint.
Yeah.
Y está aquí.
What is this? Straight Talk. Okay.
Yeah.
Never heard of them.
That's a cheap one.
This is hard to pronounce.
Yeah.
What do you got, R&B?
Strati. Talk.
Tom.
I'm gonna pass on this.
You're lost for words. The great Tom of Midnight Veg. Fucking loudmouth.
Rahi hockey.
Stray dog.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Oh,
Strat Talk.
That's good. I must go, gentlemen.
All right, dude. The great
Good seeing you
Robert
again,
Meyer
Mr.
Burnett.
Robert Meyer Burnett.
Always good, Tom. Good to see you, Loki. Fletcher,
Good to
thanks
see
for the
you,
work. And Paulie,
Yes, my man.
chef's kiss to you, my friend.
Back to you, my brother. I'll reach out. God bless, brother.
All right. See you guys later.
Have a good night. Robert Meyer Burnett, but we'll be on later tonight. Okay, so let's go back to oh god, later, my cheers, everyone. Straight talk, straight teak. El
Street
cricket.
teak. El cricket.
Verazón. 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 Okay, let's we're kind of backed up on. Did we get him? The
No.
the tweet is it okay, the Tweaky Kid?
The Tweaky Kid, yes.
For $9.99, shouldn't the cataclysmic event happen before old movies are shown in the remaining theaters? These releases seem like the movie list aboard Captain Archer's Enterprise mess hall.
Movie night.
Well, movie night.
Movie night.
Shouldn't the cataclysmic event happen before old movies are shown? It's funny. I don't know, man. I love old movies. It's weird to call these movies old movies now, but that's what they are, Loki.
You see that comment by Mike Loves Cats, Sigourney in underwear still looks incredible on the big screen. Isn't that right?
You know what? It was, yes, but how do I sound this without being a creeper? I guess that there's no way. I loved her little butt, man.
Yeah, absolutely. She had a cute little butt. It was little too. It wasn't like a blam, chicka blam.
No,
it was
but and it was and the camera just stayed there. Hello. Yep. James Cameron complained about it. He's a weirdo now. Goofball. He's lost it. Bonzo Kilburn for $3.99. 20 years from now, we'll be celebrating the slant. Oh,
we better.
Oh, you know what? What do we got for that? What do we have for that, Tom? What do we got? Got anything fun?
I don't know. Do we?
Yeah, we do.
I think his I broke, Paulie.
Man. What's that?
His I think it broke.
He's brilliant.
Sounds a little bit like a chihuahua.
Yeah, total chihuahua. Daryl the Derelict's here, and he says for $5, I was one of the few who liked the Phantom Menace because I didn't compare it to the OT. I went in knowing it was the origin story. Jar Jar, on the other hand,
Needs to be Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar, you better shut up before I shove this lightsaber where the sun don't shine. Good. That's what Qui-Gon should have told him. Needs to be quiet. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I love Ahmed Best, but man, yeah, that was a tough role.
Yeah, it's not his fault. It is not his fault. We don't blame little Annie for being little Annie. We don't blame him for being Jar Jar. That all goes back on the one guy that was like, hey, we need to keep Bob Iger as the president of Disney. And yeah, that'd be George Lucas.
All I have to say to that is
nice. Thank you, Daryl the Derelict. Thank you, Bonso. One more here for $2. Ace Hanlon says, has anyone seen My Dinner with Andre? Great movie.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
years ago.
I mean, a long time ago. The great was it Wallace Shawn? Did I get his name right? He was in The Princess Bride. Inconceivable.
Yeah, couldn't believe my wife had me see this, but it was actually pretty good because then it was featured on Community, and I'm like, wait a minute, I got that joke.
Oh,
they did a dinner with what's the kid's name? The one who's like us, mentally challenged. Abbott. They did dinner with Abbott.
Oh God. Yeah. It's been years, but the great Louis Malle directed it. Thank you, Ace. Thank you to all the super chats. We haven't had this many super chats in a long time, so I really appreciate that. Helps the channel out, Loki.
Keeps the fires burning bright.
Yeah. Do we have like a real rock and roll? Oh, we got a lowrider.
The lowrider is a little higher.
That shit's better than the fucking Ahsoka show.
Surprised you don't have them on the Pee-wee bikes. Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Oh yeah, but then you Fletcher's saying we need to get the one where she's flipping in air. She's doing
Yeah,
that
you gotta get
somersault.
this. Just do somersaulting in the air, and
Yeah. Thank you
the one where
everyone
she
in
changes
the
into a
chat.
costume.
Incredible. Combined 138 people watching this live, YouTube and X. Thank you, Tom Midnight's Edge. Thank you, Loki.
Thank you.
Okay, so what do you guys want to do? You want to continue the talk on the algorithm stuff, or you want to go back to Latinos pronounce?
I thought we were wrapping up with Latinos pronounce. Let's go back to that.
Let's go back to that. And then we got a couple more super chats, but I'm always down. Actually, we have another video too to show you after this, right, Fletch?
Yeah, I believe so.
Only for Latino slant. I love Paulie, so I'm still here. I'm kicking till the end.
We're almost done. I know it's late over there for you guys. Okay, here we go. Trace phone.
Son peligros.
Trace phone.
Track phone.
Track phone.
Track phone.
Tom?
Yeah, probably that.
Okay, real.
La gente que vende droga lo usa. Truck phone.
Nice.
Okay, viejo.
Ooh, Virgin Mobile.
It's getting spicy.
It's getting spicy. Virgin Mobile. What do you guys got? Loki.
Vision. Something. Vision.
Track phone. Virgini. Vagine.
Whoa.
Vergine. Your sister's phone. Nick stayed hardcore. No one was complaining about a strong female lead. Yeah, I know, Nick. I know, brother. All right. Here we go. What do we got here?
Oh, this is Virgin movie.
Virgin movie. Wow,
movie.
no one in the chat got that. Yeah. Verhi. Not even close.
How Latinos
Okay, all right. We got another video. What do you got here for us?
Hey, bro, the food.
Explain this.
Oh, that's basically, how people, United States sometimes say tortilla, and this is a Anglo comedian he knows how to speak Spanish, so with an accent. So
Okay,
he's trying
so
to teach it to somebody.
Okay, all right. All right, I don't know. All right, here we go.
It's almost ready. I'm gonna heat up some tortillas. Do you want some? What? Some tortillas. Do you want some?
Bro, why are you saying it like that?
Like what?
Tortilla. Bro, you're white. Just say tortilla.
Chingada madre tortillas. ¿Quieres or no, güey? ¿Quieres tortilla?
Bro, what's with all the hostility? Do you want a tortilla? Huh? Sure, I'll take one tortilla. Jeez.
Yeah? You want one tortilla? One tortilla? Is that better? You want one tortilla? Ándale, güey.
Oh my gosh.
Come una tortilla, pendejo. Hey, bro.
How do you guys say tortillas? There, Saunders got a tortilla.
Yeah, tortilla.
I mean, Tom and Loki are like the most, Chicano of the fandom. We got to get someone on like a Ryan Canal or one of those, super gringo kids, Tortilla.
Will you please pass me a white flour tortilla? Yeah, a white flour tortilla.
Tortilla.
So
we had another. This is new, right? Has anyone seen? Oh wait, no, wait. I thought I saw another super chat. I did. Dare the Derelict for $2 more. Thank you so much. Been watching Resident Alien, and it's great.
Nick's spewing facts. Corn tortillas heated up with butter on a skillet and then wrapped up with smoked cheddar and some beef with smoked cheddar over the top of it, and oh, dude, some enchiladas. Ooh, boy, now you're talking. My kind of Mexican food.
Okay, I didn't get this Resident Alien. I never saw the film. Is it
It's
a film
a
or
TV show.
TV show.
Yeah.
is it any good?
It's got the guy that used to be the pilot in Firefly.
Yeah, it's him.
I can't remember his name.
Well, thank you so much, Daryl the Derelict. Maybe I'll check it out. I'm still haven't finished Shogun, and I need to finish that. So
once it's over, it's over. Alan Tudyk.
Oh yeah, he's fantastic. Okay. Yes. Thanks, Daryl. Thanks for the recommendation, guys. All right, Fletcher. I think we're all done.
Yes, we're all done.
I think we're all done. This has been fantastic. Gone over 2 hours. I think we are going to wrap it up. Let's give some spotlight time. And Loki, let people know what's going on with you.
We've got Taco Tuesday tomorrow with the one and only lovable lug Mexican Iron Man. So come on over to Loki's Mornings of Mischief. We're almost at 3K. Holy crap. We never thought it would happen. We're almost at 3K. We're less than 100 away from 3K.
Fantastic, man.
Loki's Mornings of Mischief. We're on every single morning, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday. So if you want a good morning show on your way to work, you're getting up, you're getting dressed, you're getting something to eat, you want to listen to something, or you're making that drive in and you got your hot coffee and you want to listen to something while people honk and scream at you and flip you off on your way to work, tune into us. We try and keep it fun. We keep it light. And Mexican Iron Man might just be running for president soon. So we never know.
Boy.
We never know what's going to happen.
Boy. Good stuff, man. How about you, Tom? Is there a new video happening?
I think we're supposed to be dropping one within the next day or so. Otherwise, got Midnight's Edge After Dark tomorrow night.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
Yes. Okay. Oh, I forgot. We have a poll. Let's end the poll. Nice. Over 100 votes. Okay. Where do you first see any new movies now? Okay. So let's share the results and then we'll get on out of here. I promise. We'll play the
That's almost like a loaded question. Are we talking about where like we go to see all our stuff, or where you like if you see something you want to watch, do you go see it in theaters? Or
I know it can be a little not
something I want to see. I will go to the theater and see it.
Well, I think there's also too. I think there's that, right? There's 57% theater, hands down. 37% wait till it's streaming. 4% Netflix and chill. 0% on demand. Okay.
I actually probably do more on demand now than I ever used to, because for me, I got an 82-inch 4K TV with a Dolby Atmos system. I'd rather spend $30 in most cases to watch it at home than have to drive an hour and deal with all that crap.
Thank you, Amanda.
I do enjoy the theatrical experience, but
it's because of your location. Yeah,
that's the problem mainly.
But do you pay for the on demand?
Sometimes that's my point. Is like if I don't want to wait,
right.
Like a movie drops fairly early, and it's like one of those that comes out within like 36, 40 some days or whatever. Yeah,
I think there's just people, Loki, that I'm not going to the theater anymore. I don't care.
I you know what? I just spent let me see my library. I just spent a bunch of money that I didn't have to, but it was all on sale. So I got Rear Window, Spaceballs, Close Encounters, 2010, 2001, and Eric's got Moonfall. But that's all 4K, and they were all like $5 or $6 because right now on Fandango they've got the MGM this big sale. Mm-hmm. So we picked up 6 movies for like $30. I would rather pay that than deal with Amazon and the commercials down on Amazon. I'd rather do that or wait till it comes back on Netflix or whatever. I'd rather buy it and have it on digital will I get it on physical? Yeah, sure, I will when I can.
Yeah.
$5 for a movie on digital that I can watch whenever I want to.
I gotta say, I'm getting really pissed off with all the commercials on Max and Amazon.
Yep.
It's really starting to ruin it for us.
Yep. It's like having cable
you know,
again.
it's gonna force me to you know,
pay that $3.99 extra so you get no commercials.
A pirate's life for me. No, man, that's too much money. Dude, I've been trying to, I've been slashing here and there, man, because it's a lot of money. Yeah, and it's like pay for another $4 and then you won't get any commercials. Well, what was I paying for to begin with?
Yeah.
I thought that's what I was paying for.
I'll tell you what, you know the website I use, it's $80 for 2 years of service. $80. That comes out to $40 a year. No commercials, no ads, no BS. Could the site get shut down? Maybe it can, maybe it won't. But you know what? I'd rather pay them than pay freaking Amazon or Netflix or any of that other crap. And I can have everything with them. I get everything. So I get everything on Paramount. I get everything on Disney. I get everything on Netflix.
And you know what? It's the same two stupid commercials too. It's not even like, I'm like, if I have to see this freaking kid with the freaking mom and the dog and the stupid ass, I'm gonna lose it.
That's right.
And then you got to get back into the movie. Okay, well, 57% of you guys said in the theater, so that's encouraging, guys. Go to the movies, go often. That's what I say. And we do movie reviews here, out of the theater movie reviews. I had a blast with this Indian film. I actually think Tom would like it if he if he hated, because he hates reading, or else I'd totally recommend it. It's called Avisham, and I got to tell you, man, it's a mixture between Kung Fu Hustle and Scarface.
I love Kung Fu Hustle.
It is so much fun, this movie. It is bonkers, man. I had a great time, and that's an out of the theater review. Fletcher, what else do we have that's new? Oh, Fall Guy.
Yeah.
We're getting the Fall Guy review, spoiler review Wednesday.
We're at.
Yeah. You got to tell me how it was, Paulie, because I ain't going to go see it.
Well, one of my writers is going. They're going tonight, and so she's writing it, and then we'll do it. I'll read it in absolutely.
Okay.
Where can we read it, Paulie?
I'll read it on Wednesday.
Where can we read it?
TheLatinoSlant.com.
That's right.
TheLatinoSlant.com, and we got articles. A couple new articles every week now. So we got our little team of writers, and it is a blast. So what you guys can do, you go there, and it's for free. Sign up to our newsletter. Only me. I'm not selling the emails. I'm not giving them away. I get the email and I send you a newsletter. All free, guys. Okay, here is our closing credits. Thank you, Loki. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Robert Meyer Burnett. Man, that was a great talk, man. What was your favorite part there? Sex with aliens, Loki? Come on, be honest.
God.
Be honest.
What? Watching how far this channel has come. You went from like being in a closet, and you had you in a closet and a dude in a church, and God knows where else everybody was.
So he came out of the closet,
and look at where you're at now. Look at what you got, your website. Yeah, he came out of the closet, Tom. We love you, brother.
Thanks, man. If you're a new member within the last 2 weeks, then you will not see your name here, but we will get it up. We just got a rash of new members, so that was cool. We always do. We just did a movie night last week where we had Paul Chato hang out with us, and we watched the most gayest rom-com ever. But it was fun. It was fun. Sentai Ranger Donnie. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Thank you all. Thank you all. See you again real soon on a new Robservations. I love Robservations. I'll see you there soon. Nick. Bye, guys. I just said it like Nick. Bye, guys.
Later, Nick.
Bye, bye. Hey, we just saw Mexican Iron Man jump out of a window. Mexican Iron, you know he's not up right now. So now we can talk shit about Mikey. Oh, the credits are done. We're out of here. We love you guys. Adios.